Okay, we're live again. So, Unit 207, the Police Department, got scared about some things that I was recording. So, you can go back and watch that live stream. It does appear they shaved about an hour of recording time off of it, which they were able to do because I thought that they were standing outside of my front door waving signal jammers while yelling fuck at one another and freaking out about the fact that I was recording, sharing the screen. The trace that was being run on the device, because that's when they said fuck, and that's when they attacked my device, making it so that we only could look at a white square for about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Turns out they were down here waving their little device because I had the Bluetooth speaker on, and they found a loophole temporarily where they thought they would be able to catch my speaker and then once again reutilize those Android apps in order to terminate the live stream. So now the HP Chromebook has had the email address that I put in the description of the prior live stream removed from it as one of the second accounts. And the quick share is once again secure. So they won't be able to use that again, but they will be able to do the other hacks that they've been utilizing. And there was a lot in the chat, which normally I would have copied and pasted here in the description of this video in the preceding live stream, that I wasn't able to do that because they literally hacked the device. So I had to shut off the fucking device. So it is now 1:22 a.m., June 29th, 2025. If this live stream ends for any reason, you know who's responsible: the domestic terrorist of the Everett Police Department via Unit 207, the condo above my home, of 13 years, which has been utilized as their base of stalking operations. And there's only one felony they have left to perpetrate, and they will be detained. At last ETA per the FBI was this week. So I'm expecting that to be occurring in a timely manner. Do check out the preceding live stream. Chat replay is enabled. I'm not inclined to go through it and to try and type it all up right now, because now I have to redo what I didn't expect to have to do for 6 more hours. So let me fill out all this. Okay, that seems to be in good order. Let's resume sharing the screen. We'll go back to developer tools so you can watch what's happening here in. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? I ate the chicken and then I ate his egg. Let's start with the console. Already popping 40 airs. Let's see. Yep, it appears the HP Chromebook is once again telling them, no, you fucking psychos, you're going to jail. Good. I like to keep things simple. No, it's the perfect word. It's a complete sentence, too. Did you know that? No, it is a complete sentence, grammatically speaking, in the English language. No, period. Full sentence. Also, worth noting, my first word, most people as a baby, it's mama, it's dada, it's baba. Nope, my first word was no. What got me talking was someone doing something I didn't like and me yelling, no. As you'll see, it's very reminiscent of the preceding live streams today. Or rather yesterday. It's now Sunday, 1:30 a.m., as you can see in our screen share here. Okay, so as I said, I just went straight there. So right now they've been busy planting cookies and partitions and all sorts of things. So let's go check that out. Oh, not too bad. Guess they're going slow. Let's reload. Okay, let's try reloading this one too. Are indeed indicted for attempted murder. Okay, let's go back to that screen share. Note over here. This is the little tell. This is the little tell that tells you that they're using the HP Chromebook. The HP Chromebook no longer has the second account that was activated in the preceding live stream because they had me log into it repeatedly. I thought for me to create a Spotify account. Turns out it was actually so that they could try and access themselves as being a contact on the quick share on the device, which worked. So I had to remove that account. It's a dead account now, no longer on the device. And I'm going to repeat that process now, but I haven't done it yet. So that'll go bye-bye soon. In the meantime, let's see what he does. Probably the same thing everybody else did for 18 hours straight today. I gotta say, Kishana put in more effort. Kishana had a Linux machine going. She had way more shit going on. She got in there. She was doing 4 things at once. Kishana always seems to find a way to hack that the other people don't think of. And I'm going to guess that she's a whistleblower because the whistleblowers are the smartest individuals upstairs. And as far as being your guys' victim, I gotta say, she is much more unpredictable than the rest of you. She also talks less than a lot of the fucking women out there. Thank God. Thank God. Whenever she starts talking upstairs, I tend to pay attention. There's also a lot less of, are you ready? Boy, are you ready? Go downstairs, boy. Attack her device now. Boys. Shana doesn't do that. You'll hear her say the occasional, stop, to the boys. Stop. That you'll corral them into the living room upstairs. Just saying. It's ridiculous. And people watching it, I'm sure you're like, well, you're not even afraid. These people are going to prison for the rest of their lives, or they're whistleblowers and they're 100% at risk of retaliation and have to actively pretend like they're trying to stop the live stream when they're not. It's a fucked situation. It's gone on far too long, and it's gone on far too long because of people being complicit and volunteering to go to prison. Now the individuals the FBI is most excited to put in prison for the rest of their lives have one premeditated line of defense, which has existed for over 2 years, and that is to point the finger at each and every hacker and say they did it. Their plan is to blame each and every one of them. So as far as I'm concerned, every single one of them that's cutting the live stream is literally saying, pow, pow, take me to prison. And if you think that's a joke, I wish it was. It's not a joke. I'm going to try something different that I didn't do earlier. I'm not going to create another account. I'm just going to go to YouTube. It shows they're there already on the app.
number one food for regular BMs, huh? Okay, let's see.
Fastest way to clear out stuck poop is by adding more fiber to your diet.
Not quite, unless you want to make things worse. Of course.
As far as the best foods for doing that, I've been experimenting with.
All right, we got errors already. 3 errors on the HP. Request storage access, permission denied. 3 times.
Okay, I gotta jump in.
Observer method data change not defined.
But when you're backed up, it's just like yikes. Because here's the thing, fiber adds bulk and weight to stool.
From the high desert in the great American Southwest.
We're going to keep the Bluetooth off since we already discovered that's what they've been using, that with quick share and pretending to be my contacts to terminate all of the live streams and to coincide with the premeditated plan that's been reported since 2017 and in the tort claim, which is to blame me for all of their criminal activity. But the difference is, what's weird is, had any of them consulted with an attorney that's practiced law for at least 10 years, they would have known what everybody knows, including anyone that's ever worked at Google, even as an intern, which is that every fucking device, even on a Linux machine, reflects as the individual device. They already know that I've got an HP Chromebook and a Lenovo ThinkPad that you've left me with, just like they know that the Everett Police Department is responsible for over 21 cell phones and laptops being destroyed from 2015 to date, motherfuckers. 21. I reported them in 2017.
All right, then. Thank you very much for the call. We appreciate it. Take care.
I'm literally surrounded by different laptops that you and the people around you have destroyed just since September 2023.
Hi, Dr. Taylor. I want to tell you about
including brand new laptops, which I really resent.
I was about 12 years old, and my brother and I, Scotty, were forced playing.
I do find it humorous, though, that the Lenovo ThinkPad is still kicking because the Lenovo ThinkPad was purchased refurbished, and it was refurbished by a different federal entity. And so there is not a fucking thing you've done on this ThinkPad that isn't known by the very people that you would be scared shitless, and they are not the Bureau to know have been watching.
I was not physical, but I was all of a sudden I started.
You shoved your USB drives in and fucked with the BIOS that was created by a guy that works in the Pentagon Monday through Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. A 60-year-old guy from upper state New York. Funnily enough, his name is Steven. Isn't that funny? It's funny.
And within about, I don't know how long it was, but I just saw all of these angels and love, and I knew all of these people. I could see their.
All right, get to it, please, because I would like to go to sleep before like 5 in the morning.
Huge lights, and they were all praying to me, praying for me, and before I knew it, when I came to it, it was like coming out of this trance. I don't know how to explain it. Then I came
Looks
back,
like it's a dud.
and I began to cry because I
So
realized
far.
it just happened to me. I had just gone and seen something, and to this day, I think of that, and I forever now know that there is an afterlife. But I didn't know those people who were praying for me. That's just a forever memory I have, and I know that now being that I'm 47, that was a piece of my life's puzzle to help me in my later years to have everything I've learned since then. It all fits together now, but I know now for a fact that there is an afterlife.
Okay, well, I really appreciate the call, and I'm jealous.
I've heard children talk about their near-death experience, and they talk about a meeting on the other side, relative, a grandfather who passed away before they were even born. So him encountering someone he knew, but he had no conscious physical memory of them is quite common. I have had a friend who suffered a horrible asthma attack and was rushed to the hospital. And during the process, when he was being placed on the gurney, all of a sudden he realized he had taken his last breath, and the pain in his chest was so intense, and all of a sudden there was a pop, and the pain was gone, And then the next thing he knew, he was standing outside of this with this crowd of people who were looking at this guy on a Zoom. And he thought to himself, what are you doing taking care of him? You should be taking care of me. But then he said, beings came up behind him. And this guy's not a spiritual person, or religious by no means. And he said these beings came up behind him, and he said he knew them, but he couldn't think of who they were. And there was one particular one that was brilliant and wise and seemed like a parent type of figure. And that person said, you can go back if you want to, but you can't stay. And he thought about it for a minute, and then he realized because of his child, his son, he wanted to return. And with that thought, all of a sudden he was back in his physical body, and the pain had returned, and they rushed him in to stabilize him. He called me the next day and told me this, and when I was shocked to hear this, because I know this guy, I've known him since I was a kid, and he said to me, he kept saying, but I didn't know.
Their cache.
He said, I didn't know.
Their cache storage is back on the HP Chromebook. So is a shitload of new scripts. So check it out. I'm going to delete these all one by one like I've already done.
You're on the air.
That's it, Chicago. Hey, Art. Hey.
Ladies, listen up. The video showing the pink salt trick that melts belly fat while you sleep has already passed 21,000 views on TikTok. Want to see how simple it is to make? I'll show you right now. Honestly, I don't want to sound rude, but I'm done repeating this pink salt trick. This is the last time I'm sharing it here. The truth is, if you've been using salt, and I say that because just this morning, I looked at the exact spot where I keep my pink salt recipe. And honestly, I had to stop and let it sink in. I never thought I'd go from size XL to size M in just 1 month. The billion-dollar weight loss pen industry tried to shut me up, but I'm going to share the recipe that mimics the effects of Manjaro and Zepbound without the harsh side effects. If this video found you, congratulations. You got lucky. Tap anywhere it says. Learn more to get the full recipe and make it at home. When I first started, my husband begged me to stop after I dropped 6 pant sizes using just this trick. But the truth is, I was desperate and fed up with all the lies, online banana teas, overpriced pens, insane diets. So I gave this viral pink salt recipe a try, and the only reason I had to stop, I was literally disappearing inside my clothes. My jeans started falling off, my face looked slimmer, and that end of days swelling in my legs gone. Within a few weeks, I had to replace my entire wardrobe. Nothing fit anymore. To give you an idea, just last week I was still wearing size L, and today I bought my first pair of size M.
Okay, let's go down here. I'm going to show you all these scripts because these scripts are crazy.
That's 50 times more.
You can see the root access they've had that they acquired after they last kidnapped and assaulted me. First reported in 2017, reported again in detail, including the plan to break in and plant evidence in the August 14th, 2024 tort claim, as well in dozens of legitimate police reports rejected in order for it to be perpetrated. Just look at the codes as I click through them and note the titles. Things like cash sender. Now, note, you'd think, oh, just go in there and edit it. No, they've got it blocked. I can't. My own devices, I can't edit their shit.
No one could believe I was the same woman. And how do I know all this?
But remember, the ETA on them going to King County Jail is this week.
But now my husband
And I'm hoping it'll be Monday.
When we first fell in love, and my friends won't stop asking me what my secret is. The best part, I found the original recipe from the woman.
None of these are visible on the Lenovo ThinkPad.
Step by step. Last month, I paid $23 to watch her presentation, but you're lucky. You can start feeling.
Check out the network JS.
I left her video on the button below. Watch it and make the recipe tomorrow morning, if, and only if, you really want to say goodbye to those extra inches on your legs, arms and neck, without choking down broccoli every day, or spending hours on a treadmill. Tap the button below and watch the free video. Oh, and in the video, she also reveals 2 healthy green foods that are actually destroying your metabolism and making you gain weight.
Let's check out Offline.
Not to mention 4 forgotten ingredients.
They set up all those Google Play apps and Android apps to run background data while they perp their felonies and terrorize me, threatening an FBI informant with the one and only felony they haven't made actionable. Murder, a crime in of itself.
After
And let's
a few
all
weeks
not
drinking
forget that
this
the
pink
plan
salt
for the
recipe,
murder was supposed to be
all
no
I
audio
needed
or
to
video
finally love
footage.
myself again. Fair warning. A
An
56-year-old
EPD officer
woman
breaking
from
down my
California
door and shooting me in the head and then
had to
making up a
stop
fraudulent
because she
claim that I
literally
in
ran
some
out
way
of clothes that
solicited it,
first.
you dumb
And
fucks.
yes, she was still eating
I should
pizza
have no
and
mercy for
drinking
you.
hot chocolate every day.
That's the
This is
crazy part.
secret to stepping
I'm
into
sitting here
2025
talking and laughing
with
and
the kind
making
of body that
jokes.
turns
I
heads
should want you
and
to be
makes
skinned
other women
alive,
jealous. But
like a
since the
minx.
website is getting flooded with visitors right now, it could
But I'm a
crash.
legally
So
ordained
if it
minister,
works for you, don't miss your chance.
and there's
Especially if you
whistleblowers
want to get rid of
upstairs.
those extra inches on your arms,
The rest of you,
legs, and belly, without living
when
on
you
salt
die,
or feeling judged at the gym.
you will be
I'm
turned
telling you
into
this because
furniture.
this recipe is
You will
what
come
finally
back
let
as
me wear a
tables
tight
and
dress
chairs,
without worrying about my
maybe a
stomach showing.
toaster oven,
I could wear what I wanted, not just what fit. So click
and
the
your
button
life will be
below
as a
to watch the
fan.
recipe and get ready to clean out your closet because your current clothes are about to get wet.
250 plus separate crimes and counting they've perpetrated against me.
About 22 days ago, I started using the Japanese Manjaro.
This one is
with
under
pink
service
salt
workers
recipe,
just watch.
but I
That's
had
what
to
it's
stop
called.
because I was losing weight too
Lots of
fast.
fetches in
Just
here.
look how slim my base is now. No fluff. Let's get straight to the point. Apple cider vinegar, coffee, turmeric, pink salt, and I'll reveal the last ingredient in the next 15 seconds. They tried to silence me, so now I'm going to teach you the recipe that mimics the effects.
They
of the
reloaded what I
magic
erased.
without the side effects.
That
These
may mean that I'll need
ingredients
to do what I had to do earlier
create an
today.
effect 10 times more potent than the Manjaro shot. And like I said, with no side effects, because it's 100% natural and you can make it in your own kitchen. When I say 10 times more potent, I mean it. If taken the right way, this recipe can help any woman over 35 lose so much weight, it will look like she's had plastic surgery. But thanks to the pink salt trick, I no longer have to hide under baggy clothes or feel guilty when I go out to dinner with my husband. All I do is drink this recipe every morning, and I know the weight will keep melting off. And now, look at me, 38 pounds lighter. I started in
And here's
February
all
and
those
haven't
9
gained the weight back.
databases. Remember how you could
No
only
more
see
lower fat,
one?
no saggy skin, no looking tired and worn out. Honestly, I know many women would pay thousands to learn this. Pay close attention. If this video showed up for you, congratulations, you got lucky. For the next 2 minutes only, I'm releasing a step-by-step video with all the ingredients and instructions. To watch now, just click the button below this video where it says Learn More. Promise me you'll follow the exact amounts and be careful, as the experts recommend, so you don't end up losing too much weight. Okay, click the button below to copy the recipe and start feeling your pants getting looser by the end of today. This is the secret to getting the kind of body that will make other women jealous in 2025. Go ahead, click the Learn More button, and don't forget to come back and send me your before and after pictures. All right, see you soon. Click anywhere on this video where it says Learn More to copy the full recipe and make it at home.
Yeah, I already popped up with the 3 again. This is something they're not able to do when I'm logged into an account.
Hey, Dr. Taylor.
And notice there's only 3 error messages here, which tells me their dumbasses are sitting upstairs not trying right now. They're not trying. They want to wait till I go to sleep, like the stupid cunt up there likes to do every time I go to sleep for over 300 plus days.
A very, very vivid dream.
Unsuccessfully, with no luck whatsoever, until the FBI told me to turn on my phone and connect to the internet so they could bust them for the actionable crime of using my phone to terminate the live streams in order to perpetrate their remaining felonies. And they did, and they're doing that, and they're about to go to prison. ETA, as is stated in prior live streams, next week.
Something that see, that's what
actually, my friend has been that it never comes to a logical, or what should be a logical conclusion.
It never makes any sense, right? Exactly. Here, back to my story here. This dream was just so vivid that it messed with me. It woke me up with a feeling of like I had a cold. I was almost running a fever. And, I went up, got some water, and took about a 5-10 minute break and fell right back asleep, and pretty much I entered the same door again. And I don't really want to discuss the details of the dreams or involvements or, what I do or anything like that. I am an Army veteran and, all that. It wasn't
anything graphic of those lines, but it was a lot of messages, and it was stuff so weird. Like, I was stuck in the same city here in the Loop, in the Chicagoland area, and I was just going through doors, and I was having people giving me offers about, hey, you can live like this if you do this, and we're not doing anything wrong if you do this. And, I thought I left one guy that was looking at me all weird, and next thing you know, I just drive a block down, and he's standing at the bus stop again. And it just messed with me so bad. I have never had any type of dream like this ever in my life.
Yeah, well, why did you mention you were in the military? Must have been a reason for that.
Because there's a lot of, we have a lot of, dreams related to PTSD. And I immediately, I threw that out.
Add status root.
Nothing completely at all. Anything related to the military.
Right, got it.
Yeah, so I just thought I
Remember, they had to shove their USB drives into my devices while I was illegally detained after assaulting me and kidnapping me and moving my detainment to a separate location for 3 weeks and 5 days. Also reported in advance.
I said, okay, I had this dream.
Then they came in here and shoved their USB drives in so they could acquire root access. So again, they're looking at 35 years to the rest of their lives without parole. And the last ETA from the Bureau was this week. And I'm hoping for Monday. Now you're sharing the screen with me, and you can see on the left-hand side, they're already dropping the KBs down to 0. But you can also see we're still connected to the internet.
No need to remember exact words and file names. Privacy is built in. Choose whether to turn recall on, and you can check its status anytime from the taskbar or system tree. With recall, your Copilot Plus PC helps you find and re-engage with what matters right when you need it.
Most notably, Remote Sid. Oh, now it doesn't show what it normally says. Next ID and request. They've got numerous scripts running a revolving door of high-frequency cookies to be rotated and placed back onto every live stream, as you've seen in prior live streams today. So Big Boy's upstairs. He's having a good time. He thinks, well, no problem. We can still end it. But that's because he wasn't here earlier today, like some of the others who know what I'm going to do next. Ooh. Ooh. Isn't that right, others? They're like, yep, she's right. We know what she's going to do next, dude. So creating a new Gmail account, first name Big Boy, last name Prison for Life, Unit 207, 4 and 207 are numerical. Unit 207 is throttling the internet, making it go real slow. I'm going to make sure they're in on it. Do a different birth date. June 29th. We'll do the year of the snake. Oh no, let's do the year of the pig. 1983, the year of the pig. Email address King County Jill for all of you, ASAP for the number 4. Still waiting for them to let me get to the terms and conditions of Google. He's really slowing down the process upstairs. There we go. Currently, they're checking out. Can we still end the live stream? Their determination is that they can. But I haven't completed the process from earlier today. And anyone who's been here all day knows that. I only just got started. Back to the Art Bell podcast I was enjoying.
From the high desert and the great American Southwest, I bid you space. Now, as you may or may not know, Richard C. Hoagland follows my program. He will be examining all these in detail, and I'm sure he's pretty convinced we're looking at LA there. I'm serious. We've joked about that, but I don't think he's joking about that. So that'll be coming up after my show. My show is going to, I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be open lines. Anything paranormal you want to talk about is fair game. But I really am looking for, let me give out a special one. If I can find one of those people who emails me and says stuff like, well, this is coming hard, we put somebody on, there's not much time left, it's going to crush us like bugs, then call this number, area code 575-208-7787. And if I sufficiently bleed, I will then put you on hold, and I will get a person who does not believe we're going to be crushed like bugs, and we'll have a little bit of a debate and see how that goes. So again, the counter-decks, who are going to die? People. Area code 575-208-7787. Have you seen the new Apple stuff? It was all unveiled, and I don't know. They have, the Apple TV, all that stuff. Interesting. I'm always looking for big changes.
All right, big boy, have at it. Go.
Yeah,
I got
you don't
29 error codes and counting on the HP Chromebook. Let's click on the console and see what they say.
Toward that end, I'll do my usual heated
Request storage access for permission denied. Failed to load resource net air connected timeout. Observer method data change not
any
defined.
kind of smartphone. You can download Skype. It is free. And
Failed to
all
load
you do is
resource
put it on the phone,
net error
go to your
connection
Play Store
timed out.
or whatever. Get Skype, put it on. Once you've got it, it's so easy. You go to add contact, not where you dial.
And if you're wondering what's the new email address, it is
Putting it in there and it wants numbers. No, not
real similar to the
add
previous one.
a little plus sign in the upper right-hand corner.
King County Jail for all of you
You put our
ASAP
initials in.
at Gmail. Hi,
Midnight
big boy.
in the desert. MITD. That's all you do. MITD 51 covers all of North America. So you put in MITD 51. And if you're outside of North America, you would.
Anyway, like I was saying, Kashana, much more unpredictable. She makes
Outside
shit
North
like,
America, the rest of the world,
what?
MITD 51.
I didn't even know this was on my here. Oh, that's right, because I didn't fucking download it, Kashana. If you fuck with any of Indigo's photos that he was so proud to have had since 3rd grade, I swear to God, bitch, I will fucking smack you in the face. That's why I didn't sync anything. Not because I thought I was preventing your hacks, but because my son loves the fact that he has photos from 3rd grade on his fucking account. You know, the phone you criminally and illegally shut off after 8+ years in order to fuck up his routine and cause him to escalate? Based on his disability, you child abusing, child endangering, thieving fraudster. It's the ETA.
And I recommend reading Stephen King. He would be a great guest also. And
Okay, but I don't have you. I have you. Are you prepared to make an impassioned argument that we're all about to be crushed like bugs?
yes, and it's an informed argument based on Stephen King. We have insectoid.
Why would you quote Stephen King as the one? I mean, why not Zachariah Sitchin or I don't know any Stephen King is a fiction writer.
Well, yes, we can't. Of course, we can't talk about truth. You know, I mean,
What do you mean we can't
don't think that Planet X is about to crush us, then you're not a good candidate for this debate. Hello there.
Hello.
Hello. Sounds like you're in a vehicle or something.
Well, I am, but I'm not dragging it. Okay.
Okay.
So, it's not going to crush us, but it's the mothership coming back to somebody who's been taking over our planet.
It's not going to crush us, but it's the mothership.
Yeah. What it is the trees that people have been calling King and God for years have actually been doing real shit on us for the past 2,000 years. And all about getting people who will believe in what they wrote this thing about the Bible, try to get people to buy into their story. And now they're at the point where they've got people, like, look at our politics today, they're using that Bible as a reason to be able to totally destroy our own world. They've been taking everything from it. And now that our world is about dead, or close to it, by the time Planet X gets here, it'll be really close to death.
And how soon do you think Planet X is coming?
I don't have that information, but I know that about the time.
All right, well, I'm sorry. Listen, hon, I appreciate your call, but I'm going to keep looking. You can't imagine what I get in emails. And I want somebody who's going to lay it out here the way they do in emails. Come on, have the guts. If you're going to email me and tell me about how we're all going to die, and it's soon too, and it's Planet X, then, for goodness sakes, call me. Area code 575-208-7787. And once I get somebody like that, then we'll get somebody on the other side. We'll have a little bit of a debate. And maybe if it's a good debate, we'll do another one. If not, we'll just do plain open arms, all right? So we'll figure that out. But if you are a Planet X, we're all going to die person, area code 575-208-7787. That said, we're going to take a break. And when we can,
The rest of your lives.
we're going to mine the thrones.
Is that a good thing? If you blew the whistle, it's not only good, it's lucrative. If you didn't, you really are going to prison for the rest of your life. So you better hurry your ass down the stairs and put that bullet in my brain.
Planet X person, but boy, I have got a person who says that an asteroid is going to hit us on September 23rd. And that's really soon. And so I'm looking for somebody to have a little debate with this person. September 23rd. Might as well be Planet X, huh? So let's look around and see what we find. And let's see here. Hello on the phone.
Hello, what?
Hi, I'm looking for somebody to argue with this gentleman who says we're all dead on the 23rd.
Oh, no, I can't do.
You can't do that? All right, well then, thank you very much for the call. We'll keep looking around. Okay. Once again, we're looking for somebody to argue with this gentleman who says we're all dead on the 23rd. Hello? No, huh? Hello there.
Oh, hello, Art Bell.
Yes. Would you like to have a conversation with this person who says we're going to die on the 23rd?
No, that's not why I'm calling. I'll hang up.
No. I'll take your call. I'll hold on to this person. They're on hold. And they will be quiet, right? Paul? Yes?
Yes.
We're actually going to die on the 23rd, is that right?
Yes, sir. All the research I've done.
All right. Can't beat that. Not that kind of research. All right, so, ma'am, I'll go right ahead.
Well, this is Sharon calling from Winnipeg, Canada, and I can't believe the luck I have in getting through to you, but I just want to take a minute and just comment. You know, when you're talking about how people can use the smartphone to download Skype, right?
Sure.
Okay, well, you know how in today, in 2015, the language used now is abbreviated and shortened, and if you allow me, I just want to give you. You know how you introduce yourself and you're saying, I'm Art Bell at midnight in the desert, right?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, well, I was thinking to help me remember, it would go something like this. Yes, I'm Art Bell. This is midnight in the desert. AB at MITD. Rocking on on American Scratch Highway, MITD 51. From around the world, rocking at you live.
All right,
On
let's
Scratch
click on
Highway,
console.
MITD 55.
30-something
Yes, I'm
messages.
Wild, rocking on and rock steady. So come join me in my own oasis at midnight in the desert. And that's how I'll remember.
Oh, well, that's sweet. Thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you, Ice.
Take care. There's one simple warm water hack that anyone can use to fight off nerve pain in just a few days. Did you know that neuropathy has little to do with your nerves? Most people don't know this, but the tingling, numbness, and stabbing sensations in your hands and feet have less to do with age, poor circulation, or high blood sugar than you first thought. Here's the problem. No matter what type of pills you take or what treatments you try, you're only treating the symptoms. Listen up. Eventually, the constant burning, pins and needles, and loss of sensation will only get worse. Simple tasks like walking, writing, or buttoning your shirt will become a daily struggle. This is when doctors start talking about lifelong medications or more serious conditions like permanent weight damage. Now, luckily, there's a way.
Now let's try what caused them to freak out upstairs earlier. Let's try recording this and see if they'll come downstairs and kill the internet and say fuck and freak out, and we won't ever get to see the results and disconnect the internet repeatedly.
Simple, natural solution that you can start using tonight. This solution now makes it possible to sleep through the night, walk without pain, and reduce blood sugar spikes, all without pills or surgery. In fact,
on the left, everywhere where you see it drop down to 0 is their active attempts to terminate the live stream.
Are now free just like that. So stop what you're doing, tap the Watch Now button to watch a free video guide that shows exactly how this simple nerve trick works. No doctor's visits.
Looks like they've stopped, probably because this thing started recording. This thing freaked them out.
Thousands of people are already using this natural solution and have reported finally being able to
in the preceding live stream. Enough that they cut off an hour of that recording to make sure you didn't see it.
No more fiery jolts in your hands and feet. No more hesitating before every step or second guessing every move. And best of all, you'll finally be able to enjoy life.
And also note that it's magically stopped going to 0 on the KBs since this thing started.
How you can use this simple routine to start today. The number one food for regular BMs, huh? Okay, let's see.
Fastest way to clear out stuck poop is by adding more fiber to your diet.
Not quite, unless you want to make things worse, of course.
As far as the best foods for doing that, I've been experimenting with prunes, kiwis, and refried beans.
Oh, bless her, but this is going sideways fast.
Fibrous foods are great because fiber helps you poop.
Okay, I gotta jump in here. Fiber, look, it's great when you're not already constipated, but when you're backed up, it's just like...
And now there's magically only one error.
Fiber adds bulk and weight to stool, and 1 + 1 = 2.
This one stopped at 32, so they stopped what they were doing when I started this, as you see in the video.
More bloating and more constipation. That's just basic
Oh,
math.
they dropped the other one back down to 0, so maybe they didn't stop too much. Or maybe this is only profiling this tab. Let's do it over here too.
Might liquefy any of the food, allowing it to squeeze through your increasingly blocked exit. Meanwhile, the old stuck poop that's already cemented to the walls of your colon, well, it just continues to stagnate and rot in your belly. Not to
Now they're
mention
dropping both to
laxatives
0.
that make you dependent. And then there's the cramps and the diarrhea. And for what? Your poop's still stuck. So forget about fiber or laxatives. I'll do you one better. Something that not only provides almost instant relief, but actually helps prevent future poop blockages. And I gotta warn you, it might sound a little weird at first, but just hear me out, okay? Because I'm talking about a gut clearing ritual that anyone can do at home. And no, I'm not talking about poop yoga or chugging half your body weight in water. And it's not some crazy TikTok trend like those dangerous coffee enemas that people keep trying. It's simple, it's safe, and backed by real hard Ivy League science studied at Harvard and Yale, best of the best. A top New York City gut doctor named Dr. Gina Sam showed it to me. And I gotta say, I love how her gut clearing morning ritual helps your body naturally release stuck poop. You do it, and it softens and loosens the hardened poop blocking your colon, so your body can easily and comfortably release all that backed up toxic waste. And here's my favorite part. This technique helps your body process waste more efficiently going forward, which means you don't have to live in fear of constipation anymore. And no, you absolutely do not have to give up your favorite foods or anything like that. Dr. Sam has been using her gut clearing ritual with her patients for years now, helping thousands find relief when nothing else works. So now she's spreading the word as the #1 constipation solution for folks who've been backed up for months or even years. And it works for pretty much anyone, whether you...
All right. Let's go to real quick to Florida and say hello. Hello, Florida.
Hello, Art. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir.
Yes, I'm happy to debate with this gentleman about the 23rd.
All right. What is your first name?
My name is Mike.
Mike. Okay, someone's breathing into the mic, so stop that. I think it's mine.
Sorry about
We're
that.
going to die on the 23rd guy. And what is your first name, please?
Ronald.
Ronald?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ronald. Lay out your case. Mike, feel free to interrupt when he starts getting silly. We're going to die on the 23rd. So that's how many days from now? That's not many, huh?
No, not many. In fact, my wife and I have been researching this for many months now, and we are getting out of Los Angeles, California, and heading up towards Mount Shasta on the 13th because we believe the window is going to be, well, it's going to hit on the 23rd, and on about the 25th or 26th, the dust is going to settle, and then things will kind of be back to normal around the 28th. But the asteroid is the first to hit Puerto Rico on the 23rd.
Mike, you're breathing into the phone there.
I apologize. Sorry about that.
Okay, please don't do that. All right, Ronald. So you're leaving LA. Not a bad idea anyway.
Yeah, we went to Northridge, and then now we're going to go to Mount Shasta. We're going to go up, and we're going to work on getting into Telos, actually, through psychic communication that we've been getting.
Really?
So we're going to go up to Mount Shasta and wait it out. Then after that, it's Florida. So we're headed
Florida. Can I ask a question just to clarify? This thing that's going to hit us, how can you possibly know where it's going to hit?
That was exactly my question that was going to come out.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, I've been watching a lot of documentaries and videos on YouTube and reading a lot of different information that say that most of it agrees that the area that it's going to hit is going to be Puerto Rico on the 23rd, and it's supposed to split the United States in half. Some conspiracy theorists think that it might be a Tesla ray that's going to strike instead as part of a government, whatever the world military-industrial complex is doing. But I think it's going to be an asteroid. So does my wife, because one hit Russia in 2014 or 13 last year, and then one just hit Iran this year.
Yes.
So I think it's pretty much incoming debris as part of a larger 2.5 mile wide asteroid that's going to impact.
Mike?
Okay, well, what official information sources do you have that can actually corroborate this?
The #1 food for regular BMs, huh? Okay, let's see.
Fastest way to clear out stuck poop is by adding more fiber to your diet.
Not quite, unless you want to make things worse, of course.
As far as the best foods for doing that, I've been experimenting with prunes, kiwis, and refried beans.
Oh, bless her. But this is going sideways fast.
Fibrous foods are great because fiber helps you poop.
Okay, I got to jump in here. Fiber. Look, it's great when you're not already constipated, but when you're backed up, it's just like yikes. But here's the thing. Fiber adds bulk and weight to stool, and 1 + 1 = 2. Just like adding even more mass to the poop that's already blocking your body's only exit equals more cramps, more bloating, and more constipation. That's just basic math. And it's 100% not going to get things moving again.
What about laxatives?
Sure, laxatives might liquefy any of the new poop, allowing it to squeeze through your increasingly blocked exit. Meanwhile, the old stuck poop that's already cemented to the walls of your colon, well, it just continues to stagnate and rot in your belly. Not to mention, laxatives can make you dependent. And then there's the cramps and the diarrhea. And for what? Your poop's still stuck. So forget about fiber or laxatives. I'll do you one better. Something that not only provides almost instant relief, but actually helps prevent future poop blockages. And I gotta warn you, it might sound a little weird at first, but just hear me out, okay? Because I'm talking about a gut clearing ritual that anyone can do at home. And no, I'm not talking about poop yoga or chugging half your body weight in water. And it's not some crazy TikTok trend like those dangerous coffee edible York City gut doctor named Dr. Gina Sam showed it to me. And I gotta say,
I've selected on the HP Chromebook for service workers to update on reload. I clicked see all registrations. I saw that one was still running. I pushed stop. The guy upstairs said fuck. The girl told him it's all right. I went to the cookies section and manually removed the like quadruple amount of cookies they have planted on the HP Chromebook versus the ones that show up on the Lenovo ThinkPad.
No, you absolutely do not have to give up your favorite foods or anything like that. Dr. Sam has been using her gut clearing ritual with her patients for years now.
That's what's been happening while this has been profiling.
Spreading the word is the #1 constipation solution for folks who've been backed up for months or even years. And it works for pretty much anyone, whether you struggle with bloating, diarrhea, hemorrhoids, toxic gas, IBS, or constipation. Better yet,
besides the YouTube, because anything YouTube I normally write off, because YouTube has probably told us since 2000. I called the Jet Propulsion every other year. I called the Jet Propulsion Laboratory out in NASA to ask them about it, and they would not discuss any incoming asteroid, any asteroid theories. So I went to the only source that I know of that might be, that someone to take seriously, called them, and I even have a recording of that video.
all right, caller, hold on a moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to another person to debate you because Mike is heavily breathing into his phone. So let's go overseas to Michelle. Where are you, Michelle?
I'm in Japan.
In Japan. All right. So you're in danger too.
I guess so. I'm always in danger here. But we just had a 5 earthquake in Tokyo Bay this morning.
You want to debate this guy who said we're going to die?
I'll give it a try.
All right. Yes. Well, you've heard so far what he's had to say, right?
I have.
All right.
And first of all, I would like to say that I'm not buying it just because that day is my birthday. So there's my little.
That's a little weak, Michelle.
Yeah, that's my woohoo logic. Recently though, you had someone on. I think it was you or Richard had someone on that was talking about asteroids and how we measure them and the chances of them hitting. And they said that,
They also got rid of their partitions on YouTube that were on the HP Chromebook. I didn't erase them, and all 4 partitions are gone.
Virtually impossible until it got within the moon, which at that point it's either gonna it's already too late.
200,000 miles out.
Yeah. So like, how could they even pinpoint Puerto Rico unless they're using some sort of
really
prophecy or some logic like that?
That's a good question. How about it, Ronald? Is it prophecy that's leading you to all this?
Well, honestly, I'm wondering the same thing myself. I'm doing only by what I've been finding based on.
Hold on. What is all that noise?
Oh, it's just some stuff that was moving near me. Sorry, here I'm away from the noise.
Okay.
But consider this quote. The powers that be will teach you how to live in television and hide the truth in movies. So I started doing research in some movies by the major producers like Steven Spielberg and J.J. Abrams, and started looking at the signs in these movies. And we kept seeing, my wife and I kept seeing 923 showing up, like in Doomsday, 2012, Armageddon, Deep Impact, 923. And we
There's
just
a reason for that. The reason for that is because it is one of the it shows up in a lot of things just because it is traditionally an important date. It's one of the 4 changes of the season.
Yeah, that's also true. And it could also be predictive programming, also where our consciousness actually leads to some kind of cataclysm.
And that could be true too, but again, how does that lead to an asteroid or meteor or whatever?
Based on the research that I've been looking at, is that there's a lot of people out there who really believe that it is an asteroid, especially since there's been 2 asteroid impacts very recently, and that this is just a little bit incoming debris from the larger asteroid. So
So let me then go on to this question then, I guess, is what is the damage? You said something about America being split in half. Is there any casualty estimates here? They saying millions and millions, or everyone on Earth is going to die, or what?
Well, this could be an extinction level event if it kicks up enough dust into the air to cloud out the sun going on
they would
also.
have an asteroid. I mean, other than shoot some giant laser at it or something. I mean, then mobilizing, doing drills
Jade
for
Helm is a
PMPs
military
and mobilizing forces
Jade
and all
Helm-
that stuff isn't going to do diddly squat.
Jade Helm is a military exercise that's been going on since July 15th out of Northern Command. I don't know if you've ever heard of Northern Command. And Northern Command is
Yeah,
the
but
United States.
it's civilians. It's managing civilians. It's managing, on the ground threats. It's not. I mean, it's you could make the argument that it's revolutionary takeover kind of stuff, but it's not something that's going to affect an asteroid. If an asteroid hit, it doesn't matter what kind of tanks or military or what you've got on the ground. It's gone, right? So how does that
Well,
affect?
I'm not saying I don't think that they're in place to protect us from the asteroid. I think they're in place to handle the aftermath. of
Get
the
broadcast, get live stream. These are the
But they're
things
saying
that they're
it's,
getting air
near
codes on.
extinction level ice stuff. They're not going to do anything. If they're the government and they know this is going to happen, what they're going to do is they're going to get their butt off the planet. They're not going to fool around with Jade Helm.
How are they going to get off the planet?
Well, I mean, if we're going on these conspiracies and all this kind of stuff, that they know that this asteroid's coming and they're doing all this preparing and all this stuff, don't you think that
Get
they
a
would-
life sentence
if
without
all this is
parole.
true, don't
That's
you
what it
think
should
that
say.
they have some sort of method to get off the planet?
In the winter is. In the winter. In the
Oh,
winter.
I
In the
certainly
winter
agree
is.
that they're 50 years beyond any of the technology
You
that
can
we have.
shake
I lived
my
in the Republic of Texas for 13 years
hand.
and helped top secret clearance, and
Shake
I
my
understand what's really
hand.
going on behind the scenes. That's why
Looks like we won't be able to see whatever that profile thing was supposed to be showing us, just like with the preceding live stream where they cut off an hour because I attempted to do that trace thing and got this same result. Only there was lots of fucks and stomping around upstairs and coming in and out of their house and running down here and using a signal jammer and their device to connect to my Bluetooth
you're looking at something in finance.
and my H.
The fake one.
Okay, one at a time. Ronald, what was that?
I told her that she's looking at funding and financing from a civilian perspective. The military government, they write the checks. Money isn't really an issue for them. Don't you know that the IRS just lost $11 trillion that they refuse to take any responsibility for? It's
Well,
not
sure,
about
but
money.
I guess what I'm saying is that I don't see how Jade Helm could be connected to this. No need for Jade Helm if this is what you're saying is going to happen.
Well, let's say Jade Helm is supposed to end on September 15th, and by the way, the Pope is coming to the United States and the United Nations on the 23rd of September. Well, let's just say the government does tell us, hey, we've spotted an incoming body that's an extreme level event type of an asteroid, and all hell breaks loose. Now they have to, and a lot of people know that there are these deep underground military bunkers and safe places underground.
Do you really think they would tell us nothing they could do about it? Do you really think they would even bother telling us?
Basically, novice astronomers and civilians are coming out and saying, hey, we're spotting this in the atmosphere.
Well, then where are they? We're 15 days away or less. Where are they then? Where are the amateur astronomers and all that stuff saying?
There are
Other than on YouTube.
Exactly. Where else are we supposed to find them? The news media isn't going to report them because they don't want to assure anything, and the news is controlled by the government corporations. There's even billionaires that control all the news. They're not going to let these amateur astronomers come on and start running those kinds of stories, even if we know and I know and whoever else knows is out there in the streets and picking it and holding up.
Okay, look, you two are great. Can you both hold on through the break here?
Sure.
Okay, then hold on. Be noise free and man, that's just a few days. We have such a short time to live. He's moving. I'm staying. God, I have fun with that. Well, midnight sweeps across America. You found an oasis for the mind. To call Midnight in the Desert, please dial 1-952. Call, that's 1-952-225-5278. Oh, baby, we've got a good one going on. We've got Ronald on the phone in Southern California, and Ronald is convinced that we are about to die. In fact, in 12 days, on the 23rd, he says, an asteroid will smash into us, destroying the United States, or cutting it in half, at the very least, and I guess and it's going to hit Puerto Rico, right, Ron?
Yes, Sergeant.
And this hard evidence comes from YouTube. And then now we're mixing
movies,
yeah.
even TV shows.
No, you're committed. I'm giving it to you, Ronald, baby. You're committed. You're picking stuff up, you're packing it up, and you're leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's how much
we're leaving.
Uh-huh.
My wife and I, 2 days ago, we just went shopping yesterday and today. We got all our supplies. We're getting our tent ready. We're going to
All right. Ronald, hold on.
Yeah.
You think Michelle is safe over there in Japan?
Oh, Japan.
Yeah.
You know, I think everything's going to get flooded out. It's going to cause the.
Japan is an island. I guess.
I don't think anybody's safe. Anybody who's less than 1 mile above ground.
And Jade Helm, right?
Yeah.
Jade Helm, going to take control of all of this. All right, Michelle, you're back at it.
Okay. During the break, I did a little bit of research on this because I don't actually know a whole lot about it. And the only thing that I could find that seems to be the source of this is a preacher named Ephraim Rodriguez, I think it said, who has started this whole thing, and then a lot of other people kind of jumped on it and tried looking for signs for it. So that means that this is, of course, a biblical prophecy. Now, in my view, of course, biblically, God says in the Bible that he would not destroy the earth by flood ever again after the first one. And if you look at the way it goes up to the end times, seems to be no mention of any time where humanity is just going to be killed off. It doesn't really say that. My personal belief is...
Well, I can't stand it. I got to say something. You are in North Hollywood, California, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So everybody, you mentioned movies earlier. In every movie of destruction of every kind, the Hollywood sign goes first.
That's right. And I'm not going to be standing there to make that thing. I'll be way gone before that. That's why I moved to Northridge, dog. I'm on the other side of the Hollywood.
Yeah.
My number's from North Hollywood. That's where I started. Then I lived in the Valley a little bit. I lived in Hollywood. I lived in East LA, which, if you're a gringo, do not do. And now I'm in Northridge.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're dead anyway. On the 23rd.
Well, no, I'm going to be safe because I'm going to be underground. My wife and I and our dog and our cat, we are going to be underground. We've been planning for this for some time now. We've been actively receiving communication. We're working on getting in there and being received by the solution.
I mean, the ground could close on you. You're not completely safe just because you're underground.
If you're a mile underground, then you're going to be safe.
You're going to be a mile underground?
Yes, a mile underground.
I'm sorry, I'm turning my pot down.
Yeah.
I do have my prescription, by the way, but I'm not supposed to.
Oh, I don't even know where to go with that one. Gosh, so I guess my view is there's a lot of theory about how the universe changes itself based on our observations, and that it's us observing it that seems to keep it going. The consciousness seems to keep
The
it
theory
going.
of relativity.
Right. Well, my question
That's
is,
what I mentioned at the
if
beginning.
you killed off all the people, if you killed off all the consciousness, would the universe even keep going? How could the universe even sustain that? How could everything just die?
All of the consciousness will not be killed out because, like I said, there's those deep underground military bunkers that are controlled by the global military-industrial complex, and those bunkers are 2.5 miles underneath the earth. They work on a mercury isotope for their nuclear generators, and I know that firsthand from one of the guys who built the Denver Metal.
Okay, so are you a religious person?
You know, I was raised Catholic, and I would say I have become more of a person who believes this. Photons emitted by the sun carry the intelligence of our consciousness that interacts with our subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind interacting with photons creates an apparent physical reality that is not really physical. I believe that, and we can do anything we want with our subconscious industrial complex.
Right, that says a lot. Okay, well, so,
it is a lot.
I was raised in a Baptist school for 13 years, and I heard nothing but doomsday prophecies ever since I was a kid. And none of the ones that I heard ever came true. I guess my thought is that even biblically, if you want to go by the Bible on this one, even biblically, this doesn't fall in line with the prophecies of the end times. there's so many other things that would have had to have happened first and what happened after. It doesn't seem to even fit in that.
Well, you know,
what would be the
document?
I mean, biblically, what would be the point? Why would
It's
God?
the prophecy of YouTube.
Well, yeah.
What would be the point of allowing this to happen? Is that what you're asking?
For God, yeah. If you're saying if the theory that of the guy who created this is that God is sending this asteroid, why?
Well, God, that would be if God is sending this asteroid. Have you ever heard of the term order out of chaos?
I know you're saying
Order
God
out of
is
chaos.
sending this asteroid, but the guy who created the theory is saying that God is sending this asteroid. So I'm asking you to respond to that.
Ronald, give us evidence. I mean, the 23rd, we'd already be able to see it, right?
Well, the best evidence I had of the recent asteroids that struck, one in Russia and one very recently in Iran.
That's not evidence of something coming. That's something already that came.
I do not have first-hand evidence from an astrology point of view where I've looked in a telescope and seen this body moving at me.
All right, so Michelle, I'm sorry, I can't stop myself. Do you have children? No. All right, but yourself and your wife off to a place where you think you might survive this thing. How are you going to feel if it doesn't happen?
I'm so not happy because I have an after plan too, and we'll treat it like a nice 2-week vacation, and maybe we will get in this fellow. But at least I know I will give myself the best chance to survive. I'm not tied down to a job. I'm a writer, movie maker. I write books about this kind of thing, make movies about it.
Okay, there we go.
Go ahead.
So you have some skin in
What
the
does that
game
mean?
financially in this.
Hey, I started out as a government intelligence operative and turned into a filmmaker who's trying to get rid of the global military industrial complex. So this isn't about anything, any kind of an agenda or free thoughts that I've had.
Well, it seems like it couldn't be anything but agenda if there's no actual physical evidence for it, anything but just prophecy and some movies online that make money. I can't think of anything else.
Okay, well, is there evidence that it's not going to happen?
Well, no, but that doesn't prove anything. That doesn't
It already, well, it has already happened.
Yeah. All right, Ronald, thank you. And Michelle, thank you. I'm not sure where we're going with that. I'm not sure you can make a case, or should even try to make a case, that rocks have fallen previously, and therefore it is going to happen. You still got to pack the car up and go. All right, we may do some other debates as the night goes on. I have endless topics that we could debate, but he's ready to move. You got to give it to him. All right, let's. I don't know. Here we go. Here's somebody called Paranormal Radio.
As you can see, they're once again requiring me to log in numerous times so that they can log in and perform their hacks. This is exactly what Kishana did too, if you were watching earlier live streams.
That was amazing.
Identical.
I'm actually ready to take on somebody who believes in climate
Identical.
because, I'm all set to do it, so hopefully we don't move on to something else. Can we talk about this some more?
I don't know. I Planet X line is ringing, so
Yeah, answer it. Well, I'll hang up because I'm calling
No.
here too.
No.
Identical.
I'll hang up on the line because I'm.
We'll check out and see how many devices are logged into Indy's account. Will it be 80 something again, including 4 on the Linux machine, a few on their cell phones?
Planet X is going to kill us.
No, I believe it's not going to.
Well, then why would you
Get it for the live stream.
It's going to kill us line?
Well, I'm calling us fake now.
In other words, you were hedging your bets.
So you've seen it already. You've already seen me sign in.
I'm ready. Let's get the other side.
Well, I mean, what do you think about Ronald?
Normally they have me do it 5 times to get all 4 people upstairs logged in too.
I think Ronald's crazy. I think it's a bunch of hype. And I've got many reasons why it's a bunch of hype.
He wants to make
I don't know if you want to hear those reasons.
Well, all right, sure. I'll listen. But why?
Well, I mean, where do you want to start?
At the beginning. It's hype. Why?
Well, it's hype because it's just like any other event. Y2K. Sorry, Art, I got to grab something on the other side of the room. Hang on.
Really? Apparently he had it written out. He's going to go get. It's interesting to me. And of course,
As you can see, this is another person upstairs trying to hop in.
Well,
Log me in, Mystic Win. because I haven't been detained yet.
So you shouldn't plan.
But I'm going to King County Jail this week.
So let's start with this.
Yes, you are.
I mean, there's more than 1,500
You're smart to acknowledge that.
potentially hazardous asteroids that are already out there.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about the TC4, I mean, that's expected to hit us in 2017. It already missed us in 2012.
Wait a minute. Which side of the argument are you on?
I'm against Planet X. Planet X is not going. The asteroid is not going.
Okay, now it magically shows that we're logged in.
Well, Planet X, might be real, but there's not going to be an asteroid that kills us on the 23rd. That's what I'm saying.
So, okay, so you're a Planet X group, but not the asteroid on the 23rd. When is Planet X coming?
Well, I think Planet X. Sorry, I was prepared to talk about the asteroid tonight, but
you're getting all mixed up, sir.
But I think Planet X.
You don't know if you're for or against.
And now they're currently planting partitions and anything and everything that they can. Just like Kishana. Just like Kishana did.
Jade Helm is not the Raptor. So anybody who has that idea that on the 23rd, that's going to happen, I think it's crazy.
Crazy. Well, I don't know about crazy, but all right. Let me just check quickly on my Planet X line. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, hello. Do you think we're about to get hit by Planet X?
Actually, I don't know. I kind of want to know whether the other person thinks we're going to get hit by Planet X. I'm not really sure on that. I kind of want to know if there's.
You see, this is my Planet X line. Only if you believe we're about to be crushed by Planet X should we call that number. Okay? All right. So that number is 575. Very good. That's 575-208-7787. If you think we're about to get crushed by Planet X. I'm almost done with this anyway, because I don't think anybody has any evidence other than YouTube, which, well, YouTube is, you can find anything up there. The one thing I did learn tonight that I thought was interesting was that the telescope that they're using, Catholic Church has put in Arizona, is called Lucifer. Did you know that, Colin?
I believe it.
You believe it, but you didn't know it.
Didn't know it.
Now you do.
I always actually are. I mean, this 92315.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. It's the odds of us getting hit by anything, and whether we're talking about asteroid, whether we're talking about Planet X hitting us, whether we're talking about CERN, which, by the way, if you put 92315 into Google Maps, I've noticed it doesn't put CERN anymore.
Where does it take you now?
It doesn't take you anywhere. It says it can't find it.
Well, I mean, if you're a conspiracy person, that's even more suspicious. Why would it change? I have a Planet X line. Are you there?
And do keep in mind, people, over 50% of the people that frequent Unit 207 are whistleblowers. They're fully aware of how fucked up this is. And they have to hang out with everybody up there and blend in.
I know we're
Let that sink in.
Really? All right. First of all, turn off your radio or whatever it is you've got on.
Extinguish your device.
As you can see, they're doing exactly what Kishana did. No, you must accept my criminal cookies that are by no means required, as is evident in every single preceding live stream for over 2 weeks, with a screen share on either device. Or I won't let you put the update that I don't want you to put in there, which is all that I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to post this little paragraph right here on the video that's already rolling. And when I try to do it from the video, which should be easily done, they've hacked that. The video has no title or description, goddammit. Because there's a guy upstairs that's going to prison, and he's in the living room. And he thinks that 250 plus crimes perpetrated against me and my sons is acceptable. Yeah, dude. That guy is not a whistleblower.
What does that have to do with the manhole?
Yeah, so manhole or mountain? What are we talking about?
On the mountain, there's also areas around.
What do you need me to accept? Okay, allow your Google. I've already allowed YouTube.com.
What kind of mountains am I familiar with?
Most mountains that I know.
www.youtube, we all know, isn't really www.youtube. None of these are actually the fucking YouTube. That's what you have to keep in mind.
The town that I bought the property
Go back to the preceding live streams. Every day a new higher cookie amount is required. That is to say, every time they can't terminate the live stream. Oh, and now I have to sign in again. And whenever there's not a photo, that means an idiot upstairs is hopping onto my device pretending to be me. Remember how I said I'd have to log in 4 or 5 times? Just remember, imbeciles, not once has anyone from the Bureau or the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office not known which are your devices and which are mine. Not once. Not once. Not for a day.
When there's debris on top of it, and get yourself to a mountain.
I don't need to go into a manual. A manual would be a good suggestion for somebody who's in a city who doesn't have the means to get to a cave or something on a mountain that could protect them.
But it still doesn't explain a cataclysmic weather event wiping you out.
How do you not explain a cataclysmic weather event wiping you out?
Well, it's science.
There's so much evidence to show that we're on the cusp of something like that happening.
So once again, allow all of the criminal cookies.
Okay, well, I can't stand it.
Let them do whatever they want.
What is the evidence?
Yes. Just give me some.
Yes. Yes. That is the way. And wait for 50 minutes for a YouTube page to load while you're being illegally detained for what will be 365 days in less than 2 months. Okay. These aren't officers, ladies and gentlemen. These are predators. These are individuals that perpetrated over 250 crimes against me, felonies including endangerment and abuse of disabled minors specific to their disabilities. These are officers that made threats and were stalking, and he was conspiring with them, and who then filed in sealed court records his threats and plans with the Everett Police Department to do every fucking thing you've done back in 2019. There's one felony your domestic terrorist organization known as the Everett Police Department hasn't made actionable, and only one. And it's for there not to be video or audio footage while one of their officers cared about the fact that you are going to prison if you didn't blow the whistle. To be quiet about it and go along with the fraud that's supposed to be inside, because after all, you participated in my murder. What the fuck are you doing?
All right, listen, I've got a break now. I've got to go, and I've got to think about manholes and stuff like that. And I appreciate your calls. See you with open lines. I can see for miles and miles and
miles. And remember, I'm not talking to the whistleblowers. You have to sit up there and look in your fucking faces and act like they're like you. That's a hell of its own, man. Having to sit up there and play along, vomit.
Still getting Ronald, stuff in the car full of stuff, headed up north. And then the other thing that I'm thinking about is manhole.
As you can see, this crazy delay, this is them being suave, making partitions and planting cookies, getting more people linked into Indigo's account. You're dumb as fuck. I cannot wait for you to be detained. To be able to walk outside of my house without running a YouTube live stream for the first time in 3 years because of your psychotic crime spree.
Go through open lines, talk to random people as we go. Hello there. You're on the air.
As you can see, they're actively to terminate the live stream, and now with full force, 100% criminal cookies and 4 different people logged in, as you've seen with your own fucking eyes. Azundi. the autistic boy that they abused directly, and with other individuals, they had followed their instructions that they're looking at numerous counts of aggravated kidnapping and endangering. The autistic boy, they had perpetrated felony breaking and entering after spending over 21 days directly above my head, planning it and me reporting it before, including hours before, including an hour before, including a half an hour after, and then rejecting those legitimate police reports in order to perpetrate it. These are not officers. These are officers that real officers, like my cousin that's a marshal, would love to be left alone in a room with for 5 fucking minutes. That's what these are. These are the very things that they took an oath to put behind bars. That's what these are. Not officers. Predators. Say it with me. Predators.
What happens when the lights go out in New York and it's not pretty? I'm here in Colorado Springs where NORAD is.
The whistleblowers are the only exceptions, officers.
Yeah, you're at like ground zero then, right?
Yeah, so when the lights do go out,
You need 2 manhole covers.
probably more like 20.
You know, you can't imagine. The reason I did this is, again, because my email is just absolutely peppered with people who say, Art, it's coming, Planet X is bearing down on us, we're all going to die. And I thought, we could get these people on the air, but they don't come on. I admit we did get Ronald, and he's probably in motion by now. On my special line, you're on the air. Hello.
My name is Ian Joy.
We don't take last names on it. So, Ian? Okay, that'll have to do. What's on your mind, Ian?
Oh, it's just, I'm
sorry?
It's a long time to find that. So, it was just stupid. Because what the plan that?
Okay, well, all right, but see, this is now my idiot's line. So you'll have to call. I know it's stupid. It seems stupid to me too. But one day, it may not be. One day, one of these things may happen. Of course, none of these people would be around to say, I told you so.
And
Like that.
really,
Well, unless they have to
the
write
fucking
that out.
whistleblowers.
Hello there. You're
Imagine
on.
everything I just said, and then add to that the real officers that literally have to sit up there
Where are you? Okay.
and go along with it wearing the fucking scarlet letter.
Okay, hey,
What's really disgusting is think of how many officers at the Everett Police Department have died in the line of duty, and then this is what is going to be left of their legacy. They worked at a police department full of child abusing, extortionists, kidnapping, stalking, thieving, fraudsters,
you don't want to
attempted murderers.
your experience with the weeks before.
If I had a relative that died in the line of duty that worked for the Everett Police Department, and I found out about what people are going to find out about,
Okay.
I
You record
would be
that story
fucking
in detail.
furious.
Upon your passing, you release it publicly on your website.
No.
You don't want to cover stuff then. Hey, I want to say thank you for all the years of great radio, and I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. Good night. Thank you for calling. Take care. No. What happened with the briefing board was not good. You know, I'll go that far. I'll be saying not good. Okay? And I'm going to leave it at that now, and probably forever. Hello on Skype. It just says disconnected 76.
Right.
Are you disconnected?
It feels that way sometimes.
I understand. All right, so what's up?
Well, since it's open lines, I first of all just wanted to, of course, everybody else, welcome back to radio.
Thank you.
But what I was really wondering is, over the years, we heard so many stories on your show about alien encounters, and of course, you're seeing the object above you.
Yes.
I was curious that, have you ever been shown?
If any secondhand knowledge is exactly that, secondhand or third-hand knowledge, when you see something and experience it yourself, then 100%.
Well, you know, I can relate to that a bit because my wife and I recently moved up into we're in Minneapolis, and we moved up into a high-rise apartment, and so we can see, you know, miles and miles out at this point.
Like the song I play. And
there you go.
You don't have a manhole cover up that high, do you?
No, I don't, but I have a garbage chute. I guess that would probably be just as crazy. And you know, it occurs to me that I think that there could be a lot more of these sightings if people would just look up.
It's true. I've said that for years and years, that if people would come outside and actually look up, I mean, you miss so much by not looking up. So occasionally, at least, folks, look up at the stars. Spend a moment looking at the stars. You'll see a lot.
Yeah, we'll sit out on the balcony here, and I can't say that it's a nightly occurrence by any or anything like that, but I have multiple pictures and videos of just odd, strange things going on in the sky. And the only reason that I'm seeing it is because we are just basically just sitting here scanning the sky at night, you know, when we're out smoking a cigarette on the patio.
Well, again, circling back, thank you very much for the call. Circling back to what you said, the only thing that I can say 100% is what happened to me. What I saw, what I experienced, that I can guarantee you. But, you know, you can't really take that to the bank any further than I can take one to the bank that is said to me. I sort of judge them by the way they're told and how people, I don't know, the emotion in their voices or their, you know, the expression on their faces when they tell the story like that. And I can assign a certain percentage of belief to it. But the only thing that you can say you absolutely believe in is something you experience yourself. Let me go to my special line. I think it's Denver. Hello.
Hello, Art. You wanted a rabid atheist, correct?
Oh, yes, I did. Is that you?
That is me. They call me Devil Britain on Twitter, but it's only because I lived in Iowa, and growing up and not believing in God in Iowa, everybody just assumed you're some sort of Satan worshiper.
Okay, so I don't think we're Satan worshiper, but you would say conclusively there is no God.
I honestly, I have to go ahead.
If you didn't blow the whistle,
Hold on. All right, now
you still have time to blow the fucking whistle, and you should.
It's going to be hard to find, but I want a good, lively debate. So we've got.
You've been federally required to this whole time. Don't go to prison for the rest of your life because of fucking people who are stupid as fuck and set your asses up. Were you complicit? Did you follow unlawful directives? Yeah, you fucking did. You participated in fraud and kidnapping. But if you have even one fucking thing that you can say to the FBI that hasn't already been told to them, then you're going to get a better plea deal than if you continue to hold to your guns. And I also feel like everyone listening to me has already blown the whistle, and the guy that's crying in the living room to the girl in the living room are probably both going to fucking prison. And he should really be the one listening to me.
He's a Messianic Jew out of New York, and he is a very, very intelligent man. He's written two books, one called
Nobody should be crying upstairs. You should be blowing the fucking whistle while you still have time.
What happened on 9/11/2001.
That's what you should be doing.
And we are in a year where the Shemitah becomes very, very important. And the Shemitah is a rest year. Every 7 years, the land's allowed to rest. That's get wiped clean.
Okay, now.
And you know what you're doing is wrong, because there's no fucking state. There's no state or U.S. no fucking state where it's acceptable to prevent someone from recording video and audio footage in their own home. That when you came in and shoved your USBs into my devices to get rid of the audio and video footage, like was fucking in the August 14th tort claim. That's what's so crazy about it. It's like you literally perpetrated every felony exactly as it was reported. Believe you me, the Bureau is hearing us all. They know that guy was crying in the living room.
There is some talk about
They know I'm once again talking to you, even though they keep yelling at me not to try and help you guys.
comes from people, the government building these underground
They know what the results are of the fucking trace since March 2023. Some of you have been around since September 2023 or later. God, there's that one guy or two guys were not even sent to the fucking condo until you guys already became a terrorist organization, for Christ's sakes. This shit is like a fucking movie, a shitty movie, because I've been stuck here for over 300 days. Here and there, you know what I mean. I've been your fucking prisoner. After 11 months of cease and desist letters, after 3 years of nonstop stalking, after 8 years of reporting to the fucking FBI. People involved have tried to retire to prevent their detainment and arraignment after getting high fives and drinking booze with other guys who, like them, their second wives leave them and blamed me. Nah. Blow the fucking whistle. At least that guy's not crying anymore, or I don't hear him. Blow the whistle.
What he said is that, how about marrying people of the same sex? That's probably right.
You'll feel better. You're not going to get paid if you didn't blow the whistle until today. But it is your best option.
What's going to happen is they're going to take something good.
Better blow your whistle before you're fucking detained in this situation. Especially because if you have a single fucking thing that the Bureau doesn't already have somebody testifying about, you're likely to get a hell of a plea deal.
Constitutionally, I don't see a problem with it, but from a biblical perspective, it's just.
You're not, however, going to get paid for a hostile working environment. Not this late. Mm-mm.
And you think we turned away from all of that, and that is, and we are about to be judged somewhere between now and what, 28th?
13th to the 28th are the dates that have people interested. The 23rd being the one that people think that the elite are putting into movies.
And like, dude, they're fucking all emotional and stuff. Why did you not blow the whistle? This is what a hostile working environment is. You're fucking stressed out and freaked out. You got to be surrounded by psychopaths that kidnap people and commit fraud and get officers to lie. So many officers to lie that the Bureau wanted me to clarify almost a month ago. It's not just the North Everett precinct, baby. Every officer from the South to the North precinct, including John, the chief of police I've never met, who knows my name, that didn't blow the whistle voluntarily. That was a key word they used, telling me that they contacted someone. Sergeant so-and-so, I don't fucking know. They had to contact someone to get them to fucking talk. That was a mistake. Anyone who didn't voluntarily blow the whistle is going to jail that knows my name at the Everett Police Department. And this is what a hostile working environment is. You're being told to do shit, otherwise you're fucking scared. Blow the fucking whistle. And you have a right to be scared. You have officers that perpetrate 250 plus crimes against innocent civilians and get paid for 3+ years to do nothing but perpetrate felonies, moonlighting as a legitimate operation when they've always been an aggravated criminal conspiracy, and retaliating directly against who? Yes, against an FBI did back in 2017. So much so that Jared Irving fucking stopped. His big ass, dumb ass. His short little fucking. I hate Jared. Jared, you little cockroach. You're a fucking cockroach, dude. You really are. You're a fucking cockroach. Ugh.
And so you're on the air.
Hi, Art. I'm just on the Art to try to debate.
And then I should not be feeling bad for crazy ass Mr. trying to terminate my live streams, and yet I do. I'm like, he's crying. Why didn't you blow the whistle? Why? Why didn't you listen to me the fucking 5,000 times I told you? Fuck those people. They are not your friends. They are not your friends. You guys have been saving the asses of people whose one and only planned, non-existent defense, remember, is to point the finger at you. And yet I do feel bad for him. And you know why I feel bad? Because he's crying. And he's crying because he's scared.
Plasma and clariton physics, because it's generating energy, not over unity, but within the confines of lots of dynamics. And so the flashing of that icicle, when you for a very high temperature, you just use hydrogen maximum, which could explode. It's ice. It's the same thing as the Earth, making the orbit corrections, do orbital insertions on Mars if the ice still stays frozen in space. So it's a very practical idea. Over in orbit, in low Mars orbit, use that to power shuttle vehicles to take you down to Mars. When you got to Mars, it's like an ice mobile. Debris. It's like a basically it's a buck rocket. A buck rocket. Ice mobile. Okay. All right. Sorry we got break off there. We got a break from the high desert. You're listening to Midnight in the Desert. If you have any comments, and I can see you do because the lines are burning up, we're in open lines. Feel free. Remember my atheist, by the way. Some velvet morning when I'm straight, I'm gonna open up San Diego.
Absolutely nothing.
From the high desert and the Northern Southwest, this is Midnight in the Desert, exclusively on the Dark Matter Division 1 Cola Show. Dial 1-952 Cola. That's 1-952-225-5270. That's it, all right. And let me quickly check in and just be sure my atheist is okay. You hanging in there?
Oh, yes, of course, Art. I mean,
Nobody is.
a couple of times I wanted to yell into my phone, but I realized it wasn't on, so what was the point?
Oh, yeah. All right, so your first name is?
My first name is Matt.
Matt. Matt, I'm putting you back on hold. I mean, I can't do this until I get somebody ready for
Don't
you.
worry about it. Just find me somebody.
No, find me somebody. All right, Matt, fine. Here we go. Okay. Let us continue with open lines with, I don't know, Lawrence on the Skype like this. Hi, Lawrence.
Hi, am I there?
No, you're here.
Oh, great. Well, I had a couple of things I thought people would be interested in.
Okay.
I'm getting an echo. Hang on just for a second. I gotta check something. It'll take 1 second here. Hang on. Oh boy. I'm using a smartphone to do things, and the smartphone is smarter than me. Well,
You've got what, the show running? Is that what it is?
when I was a child, and up to my 30s, I had lots of deja vu. And now I still have this. And in one case, I got into an argument with someone, and when it happened in real life, in the deja vu I had not met, in real life, I simply didn't say the words as you're arguing. So, my theory is that change things in that plan. It doesn't have to be the same way. You don't have to kill your wife, you don't have to hurt anybody, or you can, so land speed record. So, I just think the future is not set.
Set either.
And the other thing that I wanted to tell you about is in 1963, when I was a young kid, I was an amateur astronomer. I'd go out almost every night, just, look at the moon, look at the stars, whatever.
You haven't seen this thing coming in to squishes on the 23rd.
No. This is my long gone memory. I lived in eastern Ohio in a little town called Lisbon. It's about 40 miles west of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
South Youngstown. You might know where it is. County seat. I saw 2 nights in a row 2 zigzagging lights above my home.
Can't believe that.
We're talking, I'm sure it was their stuff. Playing, tactics. They're probably up there trying to figure out, when you sit around like that, there might be different tactics, right? That's what
Was it at a speed?
Oh my God. I mean, I couldn't make out the vehicles. It was twilight. And so my theory there is that they're so far up is that the sun was still shining on me illuminating them to me so I can see them, and they're just zigzaggy. Airplanes don't fly in zigzags. My question again is, was it at high speed? Well, I'm thinking really high speed because they're like, at that distance and at those angles, they must be going 10 miles at a shot. All right, I've got it. Well, what I would say is, if that's what you had, you would have something inside that was jelly. Now, if they were a human, they would be just, jelly. You can't make sharp turns going really fast without turning biological mass, as we understand it, pretty much into jelly, as a term. But you get the idea. Okay? Let's go here and see what we've got. Hello. On the phone. Hello. Yes, hello. Hello. Right. Turn off your device. Yeah. My goodness, guys. All right.
Hey, Art, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
This is Nathan from Asheville.
Yes.
I mean, I guess I'm the son of a Quaker clerk. I grew up in I would have some questions for you. I'm not necessarily sure I could debate with him, but I mean, tonight's been quite an interesting show with, you got a bunch of people on there stating their best evidence is YouTube and stuff. It's really, I haven't really heard
Well, when it actually comes right down to it, that's about all they've got is YouTube. Now, they might say they have their own inner feelings, I mean, maybe they're wrong. There's so much gut feeling that he's packing up the car, taking the wife, running.
Right. Running for who knows where. Well, I mean, I kind of tend to think sometimes the benefit of all this apocalyptic obsession may make people actually live like a more focused life. If they think that maybe they only have a week to live, maybe they'll actually get up and do something.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I kind of think that's the only positive.
Oh, you know what? I'm still out of time. Hold on. I'll bring you back. Doesn't scream balls. We trust you, but remember, the NSA, well, to call the show, please dial 1-952-225-5278. That's 1-952-CALL ART. We are up on Periscope. I have been assured by endless number of people on the wormhole that we are indeed up on Periscope. So, if you enjoy looking at the back of the talk show post head, this is your big option. I'm Art Bell 51, by the way. Really get involved. You've got to get on Twitter. So I'm Art Bell 51. Art Bell 51. Good Lord, what am I saying? Art Bell 51 on Twitter. And I'm sorry we got to cut off. I realized I was right up against the break. Love him. I'm having so much fun with Open Live at below break, so that was close. Hello.
Hey, Art.
Hey.
Thanks for having me on the air again. It's great to hear your voice. I'm sorry I get so stoked that you answer the phone. I kind of draw a blank.
Well, as anybody looking Periscope can see, I'm the only one here. Some guy earlier sent me an email saying he wanted to pay me to come and be an intern. I don't know what he would do.
Wow, yeah. Maybe feed the cat.
Maybe. Anyway, what's up?
Well, I mean, I think it's one thing I think is interesting is your last caller. When it got down to it, it seemed like he convinced there's some kind of retribution from God coming down on us.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which I mean, I'm surprised he also started off by saying he didn't want to talk to the atheists, but you would think that he was so convinced that we're about to, all be destroyed, then the atheists would cut at the core of their beliefs.
I know. Well, he said he was trying to say something, but I've got him on hold, waiting for whoever is going to challenge.
Right.
I'm sure he was screaming on the phone.
Right. And pure atheist fury. But Art, I guess what I want to say again is thanks for having me on. But what's going on right now is scary enough. The refugee crisis, which
on it. There's a lot of black guys cutting off heads. That would get you rolling.
Right. I mean, that kind of stuff is terrifying enough, We have enough to be. I mean, I also was interested to hear what the whole Planet X thing is about. So, I mean, I've heard it mentioned, and I mean, to be honest, I haven't given it too.
Well, it's Planet X coming and coming and coming. For all my adult years, I've been hearing about it, but Planet X looming out there never, ever gets us.
Tesla is finished. Elon has failed. That is what they want you to believe. But tech expert Jeff Brown told everybody to buy Tesla back in 2018.
I don't know who's doing the rating system here if Elon fails. He's doing pretty good last time I saw him.
Well, Chris, it's nothing short of the biggest AI breakthrough we've seen yet. Thanks to Tesla's AI breakthrough, now AI will come off our computer screens and manifest itself here in the physical world, all while creating a whole new phase of artificial intelligence for virtually overnight. But this AI boom has already been so huge, Jeff. That's how overwhelming. I understand your skepticism, Chris, but trust me, look at what's happening right now. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang just announced they're going all in on this technology. While Zuckerberg is racing to compete with Tesla in this space, Jeff Bezos has even made a huge bet on a startup in this exact field. Now, ask yourself, why are they doing this? Because they see, just as I do, what I call manifested AI is going to be massive. So now the biggest players are all diving in head first. And so is Wall Street. Morgan Stanley is growing in the AI market. And Citibank is projecting another so huge that it's even made my analyst eyes pop. Wow, that's saying something. Seems like this breakthrough is quite game-changing. But that's the case. Why is Tesla so fancy? Well, that's simple, Chris. I mean, the mainstream media is obsessed with quarterly car sales while completely missing what's happening behind the scenes. It would have been the exact same thing in 2018 when I was Taylor. But what's coming next will make Tesla's past success look like opportunity. So it sounds like people should buy Tesla. Is that right? Well, personally, I love Tesla, and I think it will be the most valuable AI company in the world. And with their recent AI breakthrough, we are about to see a huge wave of AI rise that, according to my own research, will be 14 times bigger than chatbots, generative AI, and quantum AI combined. But there's a much better way to get the most done. If people want to know what it is, they can get the link on this video where I'll review details about this new manifested AI opportunity. Do they need to buy anything or enter their email address to see this information? No, it's completely free of charge. No email is required. Just click the link below now and you'll see exactly what's happening with AI breakthrough and how AI is about to be manifested right here in the real world. Along with the details around this one company that sits at the heart of this revolution. You've heard it here first, folks. The same man who founded NVIDIA that finished declaring the rise in Tesla all the way back in 2018 now says what he shares in the link below that it could be the most important quality of all this one.
So, yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear somebody say, convince me how it's a serious threat to America.
Let us say that somebody convinced you that on September 23rd, right, a very few days from now, the world is going to end. How would you behave?
I would never believe it because the world isn't going to end at any point.
Love my family and try to get us safe. I mean, I'm up in the mountains now.
Humanity will go extinct when Godzilla gets bored with them, just like Godzilla got bored with the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I would hope so. I'll do my damn best. I got a few people ready to help me out if need to. Yeah, I mean, I'm really hoping it doesn't come to that. Obviously, me too. Yeah, but I mean, I think the blood that's around us that is verifiable is pretty determined.
let's see. Let's go here on the phone. Say hi to O'Neill.
There used to be this really cool traveling, I don't know if he called himself a preacher or a minister or a reverend. He was a white guy, skinny, beard. This is when I was in 8th grade. So do the math on that. Anyway, he went around and he would challenge people that weren't just atheists, also like evolutionists, Big Bang theorists. And the guy was amazing to watch. He would debate, and literally everybody would like walk out thinking he was right. It was incredible. There was like all of his shit was like filmed and sent around. All the Christian schools and Catholic schools and Lutheran schools, they all had it. He was pretty fucking cool. I wish I knew his name. He's not big now. I've never seen him like, some of the other people that you see on the TV shows or Joe Osteen or any of the people that like make it big like that. But he was big when I was in 8th grade. He was sharp as a tack. He'd run circles around biologists. I mean, it was really quite incredible. Basically, it was like the Socratic method times 10. He made it so that whatever they said was true, but also made true by Godzilla. It's pretty cool.
Energy, perfect, healthy food craving, and it can even help you lose weight. And actually, when you drink coffee during or after, it can help in your digestive tract, helping you. No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm waiting for JC Jr.
Yeah, JC. He was fun.
The Art Bell JC calls it.
They're making all kinds of excuses for him, like connected to Nashville. And I keep hearing from Junior or whatever his offers. And he may make it in. He's actually, he kind of sounds like JC. You can hear it when he grows up. All right, thank you. I'm going to keep looking. I want somebody, really ready to go. All right, let's go. Let's go overseas. Michael, hello. Hello. Yes, I hear you. All right. I feel described as an atheist, but accepted and described as a confused one. You're a confused atheist? Well, yes and no. Well, now, what is your confusion? Sorry, I just woke you up. Actually, that's what I need. Where are you? Well, I'm in England. You're not born again. Well, no, having said that, there's obvious evidence of these Satanists getting more and more, occurring more and more with religion. Yeah, so the Father Malachi Martin said that you believe that the statement of 800%. And then there is these born again, these new age people that are getting weird. The more exposure we get. Now, I'm confused because I don't know where to stand. I was ultimately Catholic and exactly at 15 years old when I discovered I was being conditioned, not educated. But over the years, I've learned that there is a spiritual dimension behind it all. Yes, hello, Stephen.
Yeah, I'm turning off my.
That's good.
Okay, all right, wow, great. I'm calling from Mexico City.
Mexico City, really?
Yeah, I'm in New York. And I think it's germane to this topic because I decided to take 1 month and stay where it's almost 9,000 feet above sea level.
And you're doing that because you think this month is
Something.
yeah, something.
Yeah.
So you're like 10,000 feet up above Mexico City?
Sorry?
You're like about 10,000 feet above Mexico City?
Oh no, Mexico City is between 8 and 9,000. It's almost 3,000.
Alright, so you're on the hill.
No, Mexico City is.
You're on the hill in Mexico City.
So, I think if something does slap, the probability that it will hit water is great, only because of surface area.
When I started drinking cold water to help me lose weight, my friends laughed at me, but when they saw how fast I was changing, they started doing it themselves. Apparently, thousands of women are already doing this every morning by adding one unusual ingredient to a glass of cold water. You've probably heard that as you get older, your body will never be the same. You'll have to accept it's harder to lose the extra pounds around your waist, the shapeless, baggy clothes and unflattering photos, and the aches and pains and tiredness all the time. But what if I told you that's not true at all? What if I told you that there's a simple drink you can make at home that can help lose weight in weeks without starving yourself or spending hours in the gym? Sounds too good to be true, right? That's what I thought too until I saw my auntie at a family party. I didn't even recognize her at first until she came over to say hi. It was crazy. She was literally half the size from when I'd last seen her. I asked her what her secret was, and she told me about this cold water tweak that she'd seen on TV. She said it was a simple drink that she made every morning using ingredients that she found at her local grocery store. She said it apparently cleared some blockage that had built up and stopped her body from burning fat like it should. She said it was easy to do, and it only took 7 seconds each day. She said she lost a load of weight in the first few weeks and kept it off ever since. She said apparently thousands of people were doing it and seeing the same results. I was skeptical, but I decided to give it a try, and boy am I glad I did. The weight started dropping off just like that. I couldn't believe it. I felt like a new person. I could fit into my old jeans and dresses again. I had more energy and confidence than ever before. And the best part is, I was still eating all my favorite foods. It just didn't seem to matter. Doctors decided to prove. If you want to see this special morning drink for yourself, just tap the link below and see this short free video that shows you everything you need to know. Trust me, you won't regret it.
And tsunamis are.
The great American Southwest coming to you. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world's time zones. Each and every one of everybody. This program, Midnight in the Desert, by Mark Bell. Good to be here, and we're going to have a fun show.
I can't do the ads, so I'm restarting this episode. It's the ads are just going
On last night's program, yes, I know. It was hard, harsh, scary, unfortunately realistic. And that's what we do every now and then. I think people have forgotten how I do programs over the years. They have selective memories, and I will bounce back and forth between everything. The scary, and then there's the other kind of scary. Yeah, that's right. That's good scary. And you're welcome to bad scary. I understand, trust me. But I have always done that. I have always bounced back and forth with people. I don't know, I think they tend Stream guys, LB.net, sales, EVERETT, TuneIn Radio, of course, COS, Rap, That Matter News, and a lot more really. He does a whale of a job. So, all those people, thank you. Let's read just a little bit of news. We're going to talk about OBEs tonight. You know, there's no question about it. I know you guys love that topic, as do I. We did it all that, not that long ago with President Bennett, but the real guy for OBEs, the original guy, is Dr. Albert Taylor. While Russia launched airstrikes Wednesday in Syria, they were supposed to hit ISIS, but instead they, I think this is close, mistakenly hit enemies of the regime. They did a lot of damage. So we kind of had a meeting with them in the middle of the day and said, well, let's coordinate military activity here and do what needs to be done. And they sort of said, done. Let's see. Not good. The Taliban is gaining new ground. Taliban is gaining new ground in Afghanistan. They have taken another key town. It's just not good news at all. So there are recommendations that American boots on the ground be extended for more time. This is from the anomalous.com. The world is full of anomalies and curiosities that defy explanation. But ultimately, one of the biggest mysteries resides within our own human brains. It's mostly an unexplored frontier that the science only has begun to understand, and this recent research on what's called blind sight is a perfect example of one of those inexplicable mysteries. For people still perceive the world around them when they've got either partial or total blindness, but the fact is, they can't. Now, as if you needed any convincing about aliens, it seems there is a top-secret FBI memo released by the Center for UFO Research in Tokyo, Japan, and they claim they've discovered a document that contains details about flying saucers being piloted by 3 feet tall aliens. Bureaus have been concerned about the findings of the research center. I imagine they are. During the discovery could lead to members of the public gaining access to thousands of documents. God knows where it might go. The FBI memo reportedly reads, an investigator from the Air Force states that 3 so-called flying saucers have been discovered in New Mexico, described as being current-shaped raised centers about 50 feet tall or 50 feet rather in diameter, each one occupied by 3 bodies of human-shaped flesh, only 3 feet tall, dressed in metallic cloth of a very fine texture. According to Mr. Redacted, the saucers were found in New Mexico due to the fact that the government has highly powered radar set up in the area, and the radar interferes with the controlling mechanism of the saucer. Isn't that interesting? They actually came to a conclusion, apparently, according to this, about what brought the saucers down. Radar radiation. Well, I have 2 comments on that. Number 1, the fact that this is included within spent 2.5 decades evaluating systems designs on a wide variety of top-secret government stealth fighter, the Strategic Defense Initiative Anti-Ballistic Missile Program, and otherwise known as Star Wars. He was born and raised in Southern California. California boy, currently a paranormal researcher, lecturer, and speaker working on the latest book, which he calls Journey of the Cosmic Soul, a detailed scientific and spiritual study resulting over 20 years of out-of-body paranormal and astrophysical research. Beyond that, he is a robotics expert, designing and building fully semi-autonomous robotic drones to support his ongoing research in various types of paranormal phenomena. So, there you have it. That's an amazing background for somebody who's going to talk about what he's going to talk about. I think it's absolutely incredible. And the way some electronics operates is incredible too. Anyway, Dr. Albert Taylor, about to talk with you about OBEs. Well, what do we know? Want to take a ride? Your conductor, I will. When you call 1-952 or that's 1-952-225-5278. That's the number, all right, but hold your calls because here comes Dr. Albert Taylor. Doctor, welcome to Midnight in the Desert.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, and it's a pleasure to be with you.
It has been how long?
Almost 19 years, I think. We've been talking since 1996.
I would say that about it. Yeah. Okay, so I found out recently, having done a show, Best in the Day, that this audience, or this particular audience, is really wild, and as am I might add, about OBEs. It's the one thing that you can do in yourself. It doesn't require expensive airline tickets. It doesn't require special passes or anything else. You can just do it. You can go out of your own body, and I guess you can go anywhere in the world and beyond.
I'm pretty excited about it too. So you can include me in that.
How you got to that stuff before and after the International Space Station and Star Wars and the 117 and all that cool stuff. Do you still possess some classified stuff?
No, I don't. No, that would be probably against the law. So, no, I do have some.
No, I know nothing. That's not knowledge.
Oh, yeah. There's some things that I can't talk about.
Okay, let's talk about those.
When that's going to expire.
Sure. It's speculation. Talk about it.
Why not? Let's talk about it. I'll share what I can.
Anybody who
America is awesome. Our technology is unbelievable. It's projected out some of the things we work on today, 40 to 50 years in the future for any other nation developing similar tech. So we have a lot of really cool stuff.
We do, and we've got a lot of scary stuff.
Yes, we do.
I did a show on that last month. I don't know if you hear that. If you did, I'm surprised you're feeling well today. Really scary. All right, so I sort of read the background, but if you want to go into detail about what you did, short classified, you're welcome to do so. Right? I mean, the International Space Station, that's interesting anyway. What did you do?
Basically, I was responsible for the pressurized mating adapter that the shuttle used to dock to, and the crew would transfer from the shuttle to one of the nodes, which is a command and control node. I was also responsible for the design and components in the command and control node. I was also responsible for the cupola, which is like one of the coolest things on the space station, which is the windows in that like octagonal pattern that you mean that astronauts look out and they look at the Earth.
Yes.
And also I was responsible
U.S. Facebook seems, what's my word, stagnant, moving backward, not progressing. I mean, we should be on our way. We should have been Mars, in my opinion, already.
Well, if you remember when 2001 The Space Odyssey came out,
Of course.
we were thinking in 2001 we would have all those things. We didn't even come close. We're not even close to that now. We made some mistakes. We've invested in, I love the shuttle, but we should not have invested in just the shuttle. We should have had more than one heavy lift vehicle during that process that we were developing at the same time. That way, we wouldn't be developing it now. The SLS is a heavy lift vehicle, but we would have had it a long time ago. It probably would have made it easier to build the space station also in its original configuration, which would have been able to build interplanetary vehicles in space in a big shed that we designed. So I'm tremendously disappointed. I think we're going to pick up speed and get going once Orion does flying and all the other vehicles that the civilian stuff is doing, and the people like us, Aldrin, will be really pushing the Mars thing, which I think is so awesome. And the latest discovery of water, that is a huge incentive for us to go there. So I think we're going to make up the lost time, but yeah, it has been a huge disappointment.
Actually, I am even more disappointed in that. I thought that by now, we would be working on more type rockets. And there are some out there trying to work on them. But I mean, to use the kind of rockets we've been using to get into low Earth orbit or to geosync or even and back, if those who go are lucky.
If you remember when we were Neil Armstrong and Apollo 12 and 14 and landing on the moon?
Yes.
Do you remember that during, I think it was 14, hardly anybody was watching it on, and even the major news carriers weren't carrying the actual rock.
I know. Everybody got bored.
Part of this is, which drives all of this is enthusiasm. And sometimes our enthusiasm wanes when it becomes, repetitive, like the shuttle module. After a while, people weren't watching it until something happened, and then everybody was watching the first two launches, and then we went back to forgetting about it. That's why, if we could maintain that enthusiasm, I think we could progress a lot faster than we have been.
Well, if we could be on our way to Alpha Centauri much faster than the speed of light, I would get really, really excited. That's kind of where I sort of hoped we'd be, but we're not. And there are people on the plus side. There are people that are beginning to work on work runs.
Right. Yeah, I've seen some articles and videos on things that they're working on, and even different concepts on types of engines. And I think we're going to be able to do all of that, and it's just going to take a time, and we're going to have to be patient. And what's really exciting though is that civilian
something as you go through. The more dense an object, it's not hard to walk through any wall, but the more dense an object, feel a little something as you go through that density. Is that true?
Oh, that, I've been doing this for a while now, and I've heard a lot of people share their experiences, and I can always tell when someone really knows what it feels like by details that you don't hear about, and that's one of them. I talk about it periodically, but I don't talk about it that much.
You never talk about that with me. It's like
20 years ago, maybe.
It's like the cops that hold back important information so they know they really got their guy.
The thing about the second body, or as Robert Monroe calls it, or the astral body, is that it's super sensitive. I mean, far more sensitive than the information you get from your five senses for touching something. So when you feel a fiber or even pass through a surface, you feel almost every molecule that's in that surface. And it's so incredibly, you can almost get, that's what I was saying, if you can focus on a place, you can go there, but it's so hard to focus on a distant place or a location because of the experience and presence that you're going through. Just feeling that sensation, you can get lost doing that. I remember in the beginning, I would just lay there, moving my leg, my astral leg, up and then back through the door and touching the carpet, and then moving up, and I would just keep doing that. I wasn't even thinking of flying or going anywhere, but that's how amazing the whole experience is.
All right, well, understand, some in my audience right now are going, others who've done this are going, I completely understand. And I now spoken to so many people with so many details that I know that what you guys are saying is true. I want to be able to do it myself. And just as all those years ago, Taylor, I can get to the edge. I can get to the buzz. I can get to even the partial paralysis, but then I freak out and hug out and come back. And I just can't release control.
And that's something that only you can overcome, unfortunately. I wish I can get you to the doorstep and tell you all the techniques and the thing about it, stepping through is, and that's a hard thing. I'm not going to say it's easy at all because there's fear of the unknown. Nature has instilled that upon us to survive. So fear of the unknown is a huge factor. How to live stories is a huge factor. All the scary things we hear about that. Religious beliefs is a huge factor. So all those things, and I said, like I said earlier, our senses are heightened. So if you're going to go through a fearful emotion, it's going to almost feel like tenfold. And it's going to be so intense, you're going to think it's real. So
here's a question for you. You're able to walk through solid objects. You're also, I take it, able to walk through a person.
Haven't tried that one yet, but I would think you could. Any material surface.
Okay.
Living or dead.
That's right. Don't water sack. So presumably in that state, you can walk through a person. And if you did, as with other solid things, if you feel a little something when you move through, I wonder if a living being would feel moved through.
It would, I haven't done that. And I'm going to put it on my bucket list for sure. Let's see what happens. But I would think because of the heightened sensations that you have, it might be a mind melting think, like I said, a long time ago, a friend of mine used to say, we are the ghosts that we think we see and things like that. We are them. So if we're the same thing, and in our experiences that I've had, you share a lot of emotion, and not just thought energy, but you share a lot of emotion. So for someone to transition from a living body and pass through a living person, I would imagine that that's going to be a very spiritual experience. Probably not only losing a loved one, but the actual sensation is going to be life changing.
Well, if you lost a loved one and felt that, you would interpret it instantly. But if you were just in everyday life and somebody passed through you in an ODE state, you might just sort of go, oh, that was a weird feeling, or something akin to that. In other words, there'd be no bump. There would be, though, a sensation of, I don't know, a sensation. I'll try to find words for it. Dr. Taylor, hold on. We've got news, thoughts, and then lots of open territory for discussion of OBEs from the high desert. I'm Mark Bell. It's not radio, but it is what's next, exclusively on the Dark Matter Digital Network, Midnight of the Desert, with Art Bell. Now, here's Art. Here I am. Dr. Albert Taylor is here, and I just want to emphasize one more time. You know, if you know somebody who's really in pain, or if you're really in pain, I've had this bad back all my adult life. The only thing that's ever helped, seriously helped me in this community business, and I'm telling you, it works from me. And after you know what? If somebody out there gets one of these things, and I'm sure you will, for me it's back pain, okay. But if somebody out there gets one of those things and wants to publicly discuss it here on the air, I'd be up for that. A miracle. And now, just before I want to put words to it, we were talking about a person in an OBE state walking through a solid body of another person. And I think I felt that happen. It's what I have. It's like, I said I had to put words to it. It's kind of like somebody is suddenly in the room, or somebody is suddenly watching you. We have talked other times about, animals, for example, they know just before a hunter's going to let go of an arrow toward them. They know just before they're going to squeeze the trigger, they start, and then, of course, startle, and then it's too late. They're probably dead, but it's that feeling like something's there, something's moving, a little shiver. That's what I'm talking about.
It could, because of there's some paranormal things going on there, ions, involving ions, so you could feel a sense of a chill, a sense of being cold. You could feel a sense of being warm also, emotional, extremely emotional, like happy, sad kind of emotion, not just sad because of the person deciding. So, and we, you got to think about this. We have mind is energy with a lot of organic material, but when the body dies, that energy stays, it doesn't die. You can only transform energy. So if that energy passes through your energy field, it makes sense that there is going to be some type of interaction, some type of flux in your energy field. And because we sense energy emotionally, it's going to tap into that emotion experience cruising more than anything. I can't see me like, I'll go to this room, like a remote viewing kind of situation. I'll go to this room and see what's there and come back and report it to you.
Yeah, something like that.
I think some people probably maybe can do that. I haven't been able to do that because it's very difficult for me to focus on visiting Disneyland, and because there's so much. The more I've done it over the years, the more it's become a spiritual, incredible, supercharged music. I mean, you have experiences with the light and the secret love rooms and all the physical things that I thought I wanted to do pale in comparison. So I think that's difficult to do that, and I welcome if anybody out there, because there's a lot of pastor travelers out there who have skills maybe beyond mine ever could be. I would say it's definitely possible. It doesn't seem to fit into my experiences.
Okay, well, it's something like this, for example. Let's say that you journey out of body and you go to Uncle Phil's in Northern California, and you observe something in Uncle Phil's room that's different or surprising or shocking, and you get back to your body and you can phone Uncle Phil and verify whether or not what you just saw is the truth.
Well, I can share this experience that I have had, and I've had two interesting ones that led me to think that it's more than just a dream or something like that. I had a friend of mine at work who I felt comfortable talking about this, and she said to come visit her, and I thought, okay. So through the process of relaxing and flying, because that's what we do in the out-of-body experience, and arriving at this location, only thing I could do was start, looking around and trying to remember, because it's very difficult to remember things, to remember what I was saying. So I saw a chandelier that was larger than it should have been in her particular dining room. I saw a hallway with 3 doors. I saw a window with an odd window in the corner of the room with a telephone pole blocking half of it. And out that I saw an alleyway. So when I came back to my physical body, I wrote all of this down, and we were working at the space station at the time. And I went upstairs. I know, talking about the space station.
What you don't want to do actually is walk into your boss's room, at NASA and say, "Guess what I just did?"
Yeah, I know. There was something that was really, we whispered, almost,
you would be shuttled out there so quickly.
yeah, that wouldn't have been very good for getting a raise or anything like that. But anyway, I shared it with her, and what I saw matched her apartment. So I was, that didn't matter to me. I was still extremely skeptical. But this was what really was interesting, because I had an experience with this woman who had a near-death experience, and she was the first person that ever told me, you probably having out-of-body experiences, and I was really skeptical when she said that. But she said, come visit me. And so that night, because I was developing some techniques on how to get out of I'm getting about, 50% to 60% success in what I was doing, is I traveled to her house. I found myself traveling. That's what's interesting. If you think you're flying alone, but you're really not, you have company. And so I thought I was flying alone, but I wasn't. And I arrived at this location I'd never been. I came in, I thought it went crashing to the roof. I went through the ceiling. I could see the insulation. I could see plumbing, electrical wire, and then I found myself at the foot of the bed of somebody in the bed. And I'm looking at them, and I see it's the person that I wanted to see, the doctor that had a near-death experience. And I looked around the room, and the first thing I noticed was that I thought she had a cast on her leg, and her leg was broken. And I thought, okay, I don't remember her leg being broken in class, so that's something interesting to remember. And another thing I remember is seeing it was twin beds, and her husband or somebody was, I think she was married, sleeping on the other side of the room in another bed. I guess they've been married for a long time, but that might be besides the point. I thought, okay, that's good to remember too. So when I returned back and wrote all this down, I couldn't wait to go see her. no. Let me back up. She was teaching a class at the college, and because you had a near-death experience, she was teaching a class on that. Okay. I went to the class because I was looking for answers on what was happening to me, because it went from happening once every couple of weeks to happening several times a week, 3 times a week, and then sometimes 3 times a night. So it got my attention.
That'll get my attention too.
Yeah. And I would, this was happening at night, and then I'd have to go and literally fly to the Houston Space Center and help train the astronauts on how to ascend the space station in the giant pool there. So it was, let's say, distracting and stressful. So I went to the class, and during the class, she was the first person outside of my family that ever said, has anybody else ever felt paralyzed that night? And my hand shot up because I'd never heard anybody talk about that except for my family. And I said, yeah, it happens to me all the time. And she immediately replied, and she's the first person I ever said, she said, you may be having out-of-body experience.
Were you worried for your mental stability?
Oh, definitely. And matter of fact, that's the first thing I did is I went to see a psychiatrist to be evaluated.
Really? I'm curious. What did the psychiatrist say?
Well, I went because I was, like I said, I didn't know about this stuff. So I was thinking, because it was happening to several people in my family, that it was neurological, and or maybe a psychosis of some sort. So I went to the doctor and I explained to him some of the things, not in detail, but I wanted to leave and go home too. I explained to him some of the details of the things that were happening, and they put me through an test, MRIs, neurological, ink blob, all kinds of things. And he gave me a flying color. Great evaluation. So, but I was disappointed.
Did he give you a conclusion? No.
He said that he said things have any problem. I'm rational, I'm logical. My job doesn't seem to be affected by anything that would be indication, interaction with people, on and on. I came out about, but basically he said, you're fine. But I was disappointed because I wanted him to find something. I wanted him to find a physical thing so I could say, oh, that's it. What do I do about it? Take pills, therapy, whatever. But when he said I was okay, I knew that, okay, that means I'm on my own. I got to go back to the situation that's happening several times a night and deal with it. And because I'm a researcher, I thought, okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to document my descent into insanity. And that's how.
Yeah, it honestly sounds like a real train of thought that I can understand for somebody who's in the hard sciences and is trying to figure out what the hell's going on in their own mind.
Right.
It's a lot to get.
I was going to go crazy. I was losing it. Alzheimer's, whatever the problem. And I figured when they found me babbling and drooling in the corner, my book would be laying there and they could figure out how I got there. That's what I was doing.
All right. So you qualify easily as an expert on OBE. Let's do this. Let's do how to have or how to increase the possibility of your having an OBE. What would your list of suggestions be, please?
Okay, first of all, it happens to almost everybody every night. We just don't remember. So one of the techniques is to remember it's happening. Okay, that's one of the things. We sleep, depending on how tired you are, we sleep very, very heavy in the beginning, and then we come up to a lighter REM state toward the morning, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, right before we wake up.
I already want to stop you on number one. You said the first most important thing is to remember. Okay. How do we differentiate? How do we know the difference between a very, very graphic dream and an OBE?
Well, because dreams you forget about. Sometimes you don't even remember when you wake up, and even when you do remember them, they don't usually have any profound emotional impact on you. An out-of-body experience will have a profound impact on you. You will not think of it like a dream. It will laugh, you'll be thinking about it, and you'll have questions,
set the alarm. I know that this just doesn't sound intuitive, but for 2 in the morning, or 3 in the morning or something, when you wake up, drink something perhaps, but don't eat, and then get into this relaxed state. Do I have it about right?
That's it. And no matter if you will, something's going to happen. You're either the energy thing, you're going to hear a very loud buzzing sound.
That would indicate the beginning of an OBE.
Definitely. That is like a road sign. Those are like road signs. The slower you go through the separation process,
Yes.
the more you hear. So the slower you go, if you go too fast, some of those things you may not experience at all. But that slow process, those are the things that you're going to hear as your consciousness transitions from a physical state, which is your body, to a higher vibrational state, which is your astral form. It vibrates at a little higher vibration. So you will hear and feel that vibration.
All right, Dr. All right. Let's say that I'm up to step number 4 and I've got buzzing and I feel kind of paralyzed, and I want to take the next step. In other words, I want out of my body. This is where I fail. This is where I get scared and I can't make it. What can I do at that juncture to jump, to go?
Well, there's 2 things you need to do. First is that you need to calm down. It's exciting, and the excitement can bring you back. You need to suspend any kind of ideas you have on what's going to happen. Just be an observer. If you think about something, you can scare yourself during that process. Yeah, it can happen very easily. And then once that happens, if you can't see already, because sometimes your vision just comes on. If you can't see, say to yourself, I want to see. And it's really, I know it sounds simple, but ask and shall see.
Okay.
If you haven't moved anywhere, say, I float upward. And that's what usually gets things moving. The difference is, and I've talked to people who awaken in the state and knew nothing about it, like one of the things that happens is they find themselves bouncing around the room, experiencing being totally out of control. Well, what's happening there is that you don't know you can control it. It's like jumping in a car and going down a hill and not grabbing the steering wheel. Every bump it hits, it's going to veer off and go in a direction.
Also, what happens when I make it out? Can I then choose a destination? And if so, how?
Well, if it's a person, which is easier than a location, a physical location, if they have an emotional impact on you while you're in the waking state, you should be able to think of them very easily. A loved one, your mother, a dear friend, something like that. If you can think of them, all you have to say is, I want to visit, or I want to be with, and something strange might happen. It's like I said earlier, you're not alone. So you may not be able to see them, because we're not talking about light coming through the optic nerve and popping out the retina or anything. We're talking about a sensation. You may feel someone touch you or grab you and push and assist you in the direction that you want to go. That's the way it is. But think of it more like a guardian angel. I mean, everybody accepts the fact that it's not going to harm you in any way, and that's basically what I'm talking about. You call it anything you want, but it's the same thing. But I recommend for beginners, stay local. Get better at it. Stay in the room. Move around the room.
absolutely sure? I mean, we know that, how can you be sure that some of those people, of the many, 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 didn't die when something went wrong when they were out in the body?
Okay, I don't think you can cause it to happen. I don't think you have that much power because there's a bigger story going on. There's a lot more that you are a part of and that you are important to and part of that importance is your interaction and day-to-day life and how you affect people. So you can't interrupt that process just
Okay, you need to feel what she felt. She needs to feel what you felt, right?
Right,
So
exactly.
what can you tell me about the other side?
There's nothing to be afraid of.
Well, that's nice.
Home is where we came from. This is very temporary. This is the paranormal. That's not the paranormal. That's the normal. We will be welcomed with love and not judged. The only judgment really comes from you judging yourself on how you live your life.
I know I'm afraid of that.
There's no discrimination. No one wrote me an application that said, I'm gay, and if I go on the other side, they discriminate against gay. There's no discrimination. None of that. None of the earthly things that we have here, that we experience here. And that's the part that we do so often, is we try to humanize and take our human experiences and apply it to something that is often being human or even physical. It's very, very different. And it's incredibly intense and loving. Like the people that have near-death experiences, they all describe when they come back from that experience, it was the most incredible love they'd ever experienced in their lives.
Okay, I'm digest after we meet with people who have passed. That and he's actually told a couple of researchers, and it's the truth. You know, I'm 70 years old now, Robert. If I had an opportunity to go with the medical team that had all the right stuff to bring me back, I would be tempted. I'd be tempted to try just to see what's on the other side. But what you're saying is you don't need to find out without.
Yes. Yes. If it's meant to be, there's a lot going on, but if it's meant to be and you're capable, you can have an encounter with someone who's passed. I don't hear a lot of people have, because everybody differs on their ability. But the ones that I have heard of, and especially I have to talk about Robert Monroe, he has had, described in his 3 books, incredible experiences with formerly living human beings and non-human beings that have lived. Because not every entity and entities that you encounter will have had a human life.
Dr. Keller, do you think that you have a genetic predisposition to this that gives you a really, really big advantage over other people trying to
No. I think maybe I'm the kind of person that when the monster's running at you, I'm the person that doesn't put the camera down. So that may be a defect. Rather than a bonus.
Well, that is a it's definitely anybody would stand there and not put the camera down has a 3-foot charge. Deserves every even permanent thing they get.
I'm so curious. I want to know for myself. I don't know. It's not about me teaching anybody or preaching or any of those things. It was happening to me, and I was either going crazy or I had to find a rational answer to what was happening, and I had no idea it was going to touch on something that had to do with, the eternity of the existence of a soul and an environment where souls, go back to. I had no idea that I was thinking about heaven and hell and those types of things.
So you're honestly telling me that you would stand there with a camera taking video of Bigfoot as you charge, so that when the detectives came and was like, oh, look at the arm over there and the leg over there, we'll find the head, we'll get some people out there and find the head. They'd be able to have the camera, they'd get the camera, and they'd realize you held it until Bigfoot got you.
Well, I may run at the last minute to see this. There's a lot of people want to go to Mars and they don't care if they come back because they want to know what it feels like.
Would you do that one-way ticket?
No, I don't want a return trip. I wouldn't even go on the shuttle after I learned all the things I learned about it. So no.
Wait.
those firecrackers?
I wasn't on the shuttle program. I interfaced with them because I was responsible for the mating adapter, the mating adapter.
Yes.
So I was on space station, so they shared information with me. I assume they knew what it was because they shared it with me, so that wasn't my area. If I had been on the shuttle, I definitely would have brought it to the attention because we're talking about astronaut space.
All right, we got it. We've got a break. We're going to open the phone lines soon. This is Midnight in the Desert. With your host, Mark Bell. Now, here's Mark. Dr. Albert Taylor is my guest. We're talking about OBEs. That's an out-of-body experiences you can't do it. I wish I could do it. I've done it, but just instantaneous. And it scared the fire out of me, and I ended up swimming through it. We're now going to open phone lines. So I'm going to give my phone lecture. Sorry. 101. And here it is. I mean, you're going to get this a lot because we've got a police that are going to be joining or are joining and all that kind of stuff. So when we open the lines, here's the way it works. We have one massive public line, which has many, many numbers that will open. That way I don't have to go east of the block, west of the block, on the block. It's area code, big public number. Area code 952-225-5278. Modern way to phone number and numbers. Area code 952-225-5278. Now, aside from that, we accept calls by Skype. Now, here's how you do it. It's really simple. If you have an iPhone or an Android, just go and download Skype. When you get it, you come over to please look around. And after you have done so, here's what you do. If you're in North America or Canada, you go in and you click sign on Skype, and like you're adding a contact. That would be us. We're the contact. And so you would put in simply M-I-T-E. And then you'll notice we're on your contact list. It's that easy. If you're outside North America, it's M-I-T-E-I-5. That's Midnight in the Desert, M-I-T-E-I-5. And from then on, we'll be in your contact list. And so when you want to call us, pick up your phone and just press the contact. Away you go. And, Skype, in most cases, for those who know how to do it, particularly in calling smartphone, is so incredibly good that you might as well sound like you're right here in the studio. And now one little extension to my phone lecture, and that is I'm adding a first-time caller. This is exclusive for those of you that have never called this program. And that number is area code 775-285-5800. Easy enough, right? But you must be a first-time caller, so you only actually get to do this one time. Let's think that there's been many variations of the show that I've done. I guess you could do it again in the sense that you were there during Dark Matter, you were there during the prior show. So you could still be a first-time caller to the show, right? Area code 775-285-5800. Sorry, I was debating with myself. So we're opening all those lines right now. Dr. Taylor, Dr. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I would like to ask something in the list of
outside the country and how many are you in Armenia?
I'm in New Zealand.
New Zealand. New Zealand.
I'm in top of the South Island. I come first, or even longer than that. But I have one that was specifically found. I thought I might share with you. That we were actually talking about projection, and my friend said, he said, if you want to project, we can mix the top of the wood up in Burlington, Washington. And I thought, oh, I'm going to try it. Yesterday, and I see a tree about 20 or 30 yards away from me.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I'm going to have to project it up there a little bit. Besides this, I thought, I want the tree. The tree and I are one. Hello, tree. And right when I thought that, this wolf flew up and landed right on my feet. And it just sat there. And I must have been there for half a minute or long. It didn't identify me as a tree. But it was such a profound experience right then because I realized that was what the power of the was.
So you were, for a moment, you were a tree.
I was a tree, and then I was somewhat through the tree. And that's why there was no fear within this little bird. As soon as I began to think, oh, maybe I'm think crap, I'm going to go pick up the bird and put the energy away.
That is so cool. I really appreciate that story. That's amazing. So you can, in essence, make yourself.
I identify so much with it. The consciousness can project and identify with the tree, which is a living thing, feeling that the bird, which has senses that I don't understand fully, was able to did not perceive them as a normal threat as they do in humanoid general.
So to the bird, he was a tree.
He wasn't a threat, let's say. He wasn't a threat. Wasn't a threat or something to run away from. It was just another part of the environment. That's interesting. That's really fascinating. But I have some friends who are animal whisperers or whatever you want to call them. And I have seen some things that I cannot understand on how they can connect with dogs or cats or even wild animals, lions and things like that. And they don't harm them, and they have this connection. I don't understand that, but I think it's another talent that the soul has. Connect with it.
And by the way, while we're on the subject, that's really what this is. I mean, can you certify that more or less that what we're talking about is that they call a soul that is actually leaving the body?
Definitely, because it would be, I think we would be very in error if we thought of ourselves as the physical body and just the humanoid being. There is something separate let's say, because we're like star children, and so is everything else around us. So we're not separated from the physical and animal things in our environment. We're connected to them. The only thing that separates us that I've noticed is when we take a physical stand, and that brings in a whole other set of circumstances. But we're connected to everything around us.
Well, that sounds